stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Richmond Raceway, the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series comes in here to the state that is for lovers, and tonight there will be no love left here on this short track in Richmond, Virginia. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sim Racing Media. Dave Riegel here alongside of Matt Metler. Last week, Matt DiCianni picked up win number 2 at Circuit of the Americas out there on the road course, but we are back to our bread and butter, the short tracks of southeastern Pennsylvania. DiCianni closed the gap between himself and Sean Rogers in our point standings, now closing that gap to just 6 points. So tonight, the heat is going to be up here, even though the sun is going to be down. I'm Dave Riegel here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, alongside my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, Mr. Matt Metler, and we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And Matt, glad you slid in when you did, because as soon as I clicked go live, there you were. It's almost like you had perfect timing as usual, my friend.
Hey, what can I say? Having perfect timing is better than later, right? As we're here, as you mentioned, Richmond under the lights in prime time. I'm looking for a late night showdown here on Easter Sunday. I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm fired up, ready to go.
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to lie. 4 nights last week I worked a road course, and I was exhausted by the end of the week after working 5 total nights. So I'll tell you what, it's tonight just kind of reinvigorates me, gets me back in the saddle here to watch some good oval racing, and I even got a chance to go out here and take some practice laps in the Cup car.
Well, hey, as you know, you and I got some seat time the other night together. It was great to see you behind the wheel. And Dave back in the race car. I wonder if this is possibly a sign of what's to come. If I'm reading into this too much, then fine. Let the critics tell me. But something tells me we may see him back in the race car sooner than later. Once you get the itch, you know how it is, Dave. You can't put the wheel aside. It's not as easy as it seems.
Listen, I'm going to give the shout out where it's due right now. Basically, the great Bob Nestor, 2021 TNN Truck Series champion, is basically my drug dealer. And he made a trip down here from his house. He's only a little bit from me. And dropped off one final cord that I needed. And that's all she wrote for the rest of my afternoon yesterday.
One cord, and he's back at it like he never even quit.
I said to him, look, I said, it's not an emergency. I'll get it from you one day this week. I'm sure we'll cross paths. And he goes, oh, I got to come down that way anyway. See you soon. Click. So, sometimes it's a little dangerous. But speaking of a little dangerous, these 4 turns here tonight, we're going to take a look at our race info as always. 70 degrees if you're sitting in the bleachers tonight, so nice and comfy. 72 degrees the track temperature. That's going to be the story of this race here on the outset because, that's going to put a ton of grip into these tires. It's going to basically make everybody stick to the racetrack like Velcro.
Yeah, and as the tires get stickier, what happens? The speeds come up, and if you're going faster and you're sticking to the racetrack, you're hooked up, that means it's going to take on more rubber as well. So we're going to have to see how this racetrack changes over the course of the run tonight. Teams, be prepared. Probably going to have to make an adjustment or two. We know how this race goes. Comers and goers. We've seen it time and time again as we're now into this qualifying session, Dave. And time's already being put on the board.
Absolutely. And while those times are still being laid out, I mean, most of this field has already gone out and qualified tonight. We're better than 31. I didn't think, here on Resurrection Sunday that we were going to see this many folks, but here they are just absolutely killing it. And those aren't the right points. Let's see if we can get that fixed right here quick. Always exciting when you click the button, it says go, and then bad things happen. Let's try this one more time. Send data, shall we? And we pull it right back up. Nope, it does not want to cooperate. However, it looks just about the same. Sean Rogers and Matt DiCiani here, 1 and 2. Patrick Gitter running in 3rd. Alex Princeton in 4th. And Chris Davis running in 5th position. Let's see if I can I don't understand why it doesn't want to send that data. All of a sudden, it's just everything wanted to throw up all at once for reasons I'm never quite sure of. And quite frankly, I don't ask too many questions of SDK.
Are you sure you didn't accidentally click the self-destruct button?
It wouldn't be the first time I did that. Hey, it is what it is. As well, that throws it offline completely. So anyway, we're going to take a quick look here at our point standings as they really run. As we pull that over here, because why not? It's Resurrection Sunday. Sean Rogers leads us with 247 points. Matt DiCiani in 2nd with 241. Patrick Gitter and Nolan Hodgson 3rd and 4th. Now, Hodgson just crawled up into that 4th slot. He gained 2 positions after Circuit of the Americas last week. Derek Heitman up 3 after they had a great night for bonus points. And Matt, in this league, bonus points mean almost more than the win at the end of the race, because you can have a great 1st and 2nd stage, something horrible happens to you in stage 3 and you still get 20 bonus points.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of stage racing, right? Drivers, they wanted to be rewarded for having good runs throughout the course of a race. If something happens with the old format, it doesn't matter. It never was. It's all about how it ended. Now you're rewarded over the course of the race for how you perform in its entirety, and those bonus points are very critical, and that's why you always see the intensity pick up near the end of these stages throughout the course of the race tonight.
And we're going to see quite a race tonight here at Richmond Raceway, of course, one of the older tracks on our circuit, synonymous with, of course, Dale Earnhardt cleaning his own windshield and all kinds of other silliness back in the 70s when I feel like NASCAR was more like the Wild Wild West. It's going to be a long one tonight, folks, as, these laps that we're scheduled for tonight are going to matter. That's for darn sure. And all of a sudden, this shows up on the screen. 400 total, and let me get that off of there. 400 total laps, the scheduled distance. And, stage break's going to be at the conclusion of laps 70 and 230. And 9 total tire sets for these cars. That's going to basically break these down to like every 35 laps they're going to wind up needing new tires. And after some of the practice laps I ran here on the track yesterday and then this morning, I got to say that 35 lap by the end, the car is so wild, holding on here to the asphalt that it's going to be tough for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, it most certainly will. But, that's the other part of this. These drivers, they're used to being tested, put through the grinder, the gauntlet. And that's part of the reason that one of the factors that makes this series so special to watch these guys do what they do tonight. Certainly we'll have the attrition, we'll have the calamity. This place famous for bringing out hot tempers and carnage on the racetrack, but we will have those drivers, the elites. Who they will beat tonight, I'm not sure. Just about anyone in this field can win it, but that's the beauty of the Stacy Strong Cup Series. You get everything that you would expect out of an elite race all in one show right here on SRM every Sunday night. The only place to be.
You know what? You're right. And I just got done having a conversation with Alan Bergen, and here's what I equate to us, and it's something that, of course, I had rolled out a couple of weeks ago when you made your triumphant return here to the Tony Trepasso Memorial Broadcast booth. You know, we are the only game in town right now. I don't know what everybody else thinks that they're watching, but what they should be watching is this race right here on Sim Racing Media. I mean, you and I really are the Collinsworth and Al Michaels of sim racing on a Sunday night. So, you know, to me, we're number one. This is all there really is.
Well, Dave, I certainly appreciate that. Those are big shoes to fill, or even try to even slot into those shoes. That's quite a statement. So I appreciate you for that. But nonetheless, I mean, if you're not watching, well, you know what I'm talking about. That another something that's starting here pretty soon. We're not going to go there, but why not strap in? Hang out here with us, be a part of the live interaction right here on YouTube, and let's watch 400 laps of high-flying race in action right here at Richmond. Could not agree more.
Yeah, in fact, we want to try to take a peek here and see if we can get a hold of, as I try to pull him up here, I'm going to try to get a hold of Sean Rogers from our chat and see how it feels to be sitting atop this pile as we look for him somewhere. I don't see him. And, of course, Sean Rogers isn't sitting in the chat. Go figure.
It's our Easter present from him.
Yeah, he's an Easter egg. We have to go. There he is. Here
See?
he is up here in CSS. Found him. I told you it was like an Easter egg. As we get a hold of Sean Rogers, our points leader. Hey, Sean, it's Matt and Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you guys. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Listen, you know, you've got yourself up in the points lead tonight as we roll in here to Richmond. What are you thinking, you know, as, of course, here you are trying to dirt track it. Listen, dirt is not here right now.
Yeah, I was focusing on you guys, wasn't paying attention. But yeah, yeah, I'm just getting it out of the way now. But yeah, it's nice to have the lead, obviously. Feeling good coming into this race, minus what I've just showed you. So yeah, I'm hoping to get another good finish and try to keep stretching my lead a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, here's the magical part of your lead, and you know, Matt and I didn't even get a chance to touch on this, but you know, I'm curious, how does it feel to be the race or to be the points leader and still have no wins on the board?
You know, I definitely want to rectify that and get myself a win on the board, but I think it just shows to my my consistency. It's getting the stage points and finishing in the top every week. So I haven't had a, you know, knock on wood, you know, anything terrible happen. So yeah, there's just consistency, and that's, you know, what I'm aiming for. But I do want to get that dub.
Yeah, I feel like at this point it's becoming elusive, and maybe that's going to be our story carrying through here because, you know, the old way of NASCAR point scoring was always consistency, 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 as Benny Parsons used to preach. So, you know, we're kind of curious when we're going to see that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when it comes playoff time, obviously the wins do matter, but in an event I don't get one, I got to keep getting all the points I can so I can get in on points. So it's all about getting in the playoffs.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck tonight, and we appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
Well, Matt, you know, you heard it here. He's not going to be afraid to dig in and get it done here. As we're going to get a hold of Derek Heitman next here. Of course, Derek Heitman, one of our big movers last week in points. Hey, Derek, it's Dave. You got me?
Hey, Dave.
Derek, listen, you know, you came home last week. You moved up 3 spots in our standings last week. How does that feel rolling into Richmond now that we get back to ovals for a while?
Feels pretty good. Hope to have some better races, that's for sure. And hopefully keep it rolling and snag a win in this league.
Now, I had a chance earlier to take the Cup car out here at Richmond, and I'm curious how your car is handling. I mean, I know that after about 30 laps, you know, it started to get, you know, crazy and wild for me. You know, how is that car handling, and what does Team Conti have in store for us?
Right now it's handling a little sketchy. I don't know if it's this track or if it's just me. I'm having some connection issues tonight for some reason, so I'm wondering if the connection's not playing a factor of force feedback to my wheel. I don't know. But the Team Fancy car is super fast. Definitely have a shot at winning this thing. So one of us hopefully can bring it home tonight.
Yeah, I just happened to notice, you blinked out for a second. We'll keep an eye on that. Of course, the hard thing is that when you're on a short track, and you've got traffic all around you, that blinking can be, distracting and dangerous for the drivers around you. So hopefully that gets itself all cleared out here as the sun goes down at Richmond Raceway.
Yeah, hopefully I can keep it up front and won't have to worry about it being a problem.
All right, pal, listen, have a good night and good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you this, Dave. As Derek was complaining about getting kicked out the back door, and looking here at the connection log, a lot of drivers are having issues staying connected. This is also myself included in this category as well, as I'm having a hard time staying here in the race. So hopefully that'll stabilize for me as well.
Oh, happy day. That's just what we needed. Just in case it couldn't get any scarier here at Richmond, now we're going to throw connection issues for everybody and their brother. Well, as I say that, looks like warm-up is over, which means that we'll be getting ready to go green flag racing in just a moment. As the Butcher, the Baker, the Candlestick Maker saddling up here in their race cars. Derek Heitman slides in here. We're still waiting for Patrick Gitter and Bobby Anderson as we take a peek here at our qualifying results. And they're going to be extending the caution by an extra lap so that we can get everybody caught up, and of course their driver intros complete. Patrick Gitter going to be our pole sitter tonight, as he's going to be joined by Bobby Anderson if Bobby ever slides into the car.
Yeah, Bobby, one of those drivers, also having connection problems as well, Dave.
There he goes. So here we go through our starting lineup. Patrick Gitter going to sit on the pole here in the number 21 Apex Designs Chevrolet Camaro. He'll be joined on the front row by Bobby Anderson in the 18. Derek Heitman, who we just heard from in the 76, he's going to start on the inside of row number 2, joined by Dylan Banks from Lillington. Row 3 going to feature Paul Hill out of Jacksonville and Matt DiCiani from Chicago. As well, okay, now they got to choose here. Row number 4 is going to feature Matt Long and Neil Pearson. Andrew Dyson and Ethan Eckert are going to round out your top 10 in row number 5, while Sean Rogers, our points leader, sits alongside Chris Davis in row 6. Sean Kelly and Nolan Hodgson in 13th and 14th, while row 8 going to be Seba Cornez and Ryan Samuelson. Chris Claude and Tanner Marty in row number 9, while Caden Norfree and Chad Sanner make up your top 20. Matt?
Dave,
Michael
I apologize. I got bounced out again, loading back in.
All right, while you load back in, we'll finish this one out. Michael Witt and Richard Prue are going to be in row number 11, while row 12 going to feature Alex Princeton and Kavaja Holt. Dalton Mobley and Keith Long in row 13 with our, of course, title sponsor, Brian Tarnowski, husband of the late Stacy Tarnowski, for whom this league is named, going to be in row number 14 alongside of Randy Bell. Chris Custer and Tyler Sexton in row 15 with Alexander Gangler and Eric Papineau in row 16. Row 17 going to feature Jeff Carson and John Wilco, while Steve Herring, Timothy Cook, and Ken Ron out of Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, going to be starting shotgun on the field. So 37 drivers going to take the green flag when it flies tonight. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out as we work our way down the back chute. And I'll tell you what, I am excited for this one tonight here on Resurrection Sunday as the iRacing.com pace car comes into turns 3 and 4, gets ready to make that hard left turn. The only thing that's left to do, Matt, is it's time to wipe the visor to just the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab the ham and potatoes and settle in. Race fans, it's show time!
Green flag in the air, and it's time to rock and roll in prime time as Gitter takes it to the house. Green flag, as Dave said, in the air, the 21, just as you would expect out front. This man has been absolutely fantastic to one. Gitter has been getting good as now he jumps out to about a 3.5 car length advantage over the 76 of Heitman, who's got side-by-side action going on there with the 18 of Anderson.
riding along here with Dylan Banks in the 70. He's got the 76 of Heitman on his high side as we haul it into turns 3 and 4. Right now, holding it nice and steady as we roll out. We're going to see him. Oh, wow. Heitman got loose. That's going to open the door all of a sudden for Banks. My goodness, that really opened up a door here that I'm afraid that Heitman may not be able to close. Whoa!
Oh,
Who is that
my.
getting shotgun down the inside? I can't find my mouse fast enough for that one. That was the 6 of Paul Hill getting shot down toward the inside. Fastest lap of the race has just been set by Patrick Gitter at 21.79 seconds. And we are under our first caution of the evening. And we're going to have to find out who done it.
I thought the 6 was going to be the first one. I couldn't tell if that was an extremely aggressive move down to the bottom or if something happened on the high side of the racetrack there. And unfortunately, it looks to be the 3 of Ron Fitting.
Yeah, Ron Fitting pretty quick to dive on down pit road. This may be a connection issue related problem because I can't see him.
I cannot see him either.
Yeah, I think this is a connection issue related problem. Very well may be.
And unfortunately,
So
ladies and
first
gentlemen,
caution-
go ahead, Dave.
First caution of the night brought to you by the possibility of a connection issue. Somebody in race radio already taking ownership of that incident. So not sure what the deal is here, but I certainly can't imagine that it's a good thing.
No, it's not. And I was going to apologize ahead of time as I think I'm getting ready to get the old boot here again as we're starting to do the flicker and all that fun stuff that happens before iRacing decides to eject you from the simulator.
You know, it's interesting. I rarely have been ejected from the simulator. I don't want to, here I am, knocking on wood. But, I rarely am ejected from it, but I do experience from time to time some horrific connection issues. And I don't know if that's something new because iRacing almost never had that problem for me before.
It's been perfect all weekend. It was great last night. This morning, we went out for Resurrection Sunday dinner, or late lunch, I should say. And now it just... It wants to cause a little bit of trouble, it seems, for me and some of the other drivers in the field. But, Dave, we always ride the storm. We always get through it. Working our first caution here of the day. 7 laps written in the books. Gitter in the 21. I'm telling you, he has been a pleasant surprise here in this series. The usual suspect, Heitman, you expect him to be there in that 76. Newcomer Banks, also impressive. This field is just so dynamic, Dave. I can't say enough good things about them each and every time you and I get to call them as they're out there doing battle.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers have spent a lot of time in this league. I mean, we every now and then we have the pleasure of seeing somebody on their debut, outing here as the pace car lights are going to stay on for one more lap. But, we see a lot of veterans in this league, a lot of longtime drivers. I mean, I've raced side by side with Princeton. I remember his very first race in this league. Chris Claude as well. Seba Cornett. I mean, Chris has been here since the beginning. He is, of course, the founder, owner, chief cook, bottle washer. You name it, he's done it in this league, driving the number 10. Seba Cornez has been here since almost the beginning. There's a lot of drivers who have been here for a long time. So, the early cautions we'll see a couple of maybe here, but, after a few laps, everything will start to calm down. We'll start to see that single file action, and that's when the hay will be made here in the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series.
And a lot of hay it will be as well. I want to thank everyone for joining us live here on YouTube, being a part of the action tonight. Sound off. Let us know who you're rooting for. Help you get them some more screen time and vice versa, as they always seem to drive just a little bit better when they know they got fans on the stream cheering them on. Take a look there at that 10 Monster Energy Camry tonight. Chris Claude, is looking for a great run tonight, as Dave just mentioned. This field getting reset, re-racked, restacked. You can let these boys loose one more time here
Taking a look here at Sean Rogers out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Speaking of the YouTube.com live chat, Amanda Bryson here trying to call him for the win, as right now he's running pretty strong here in the 44. We see him running in 11th position right now, just ahead of Nolan Hodgson in 13th position, and he's of course being cheered on by Callie H. So a couple of early joiners here in the cheering section, if you will, as the iRacing.com pace car turns its lights out. That means that we'll be turning them loose one more time as we get ready to rock and roll. They come down the backstretch once again, and you know, this racetrack has a lot of history locked up in it, and we'll get through that at some point tonight, I'm sure, as the iRacing.com pace car comes into turn 3.
That's right, lights are out on the pace car coming into the 3 and 4 complex. You see it make that hard turn down pit road. That's going to leave Gitter the button here, the guy called Restart Zone, and he's going to send it through the floorboards. Green flag back in the air. Gitter and Heitman get excellent restarts. Slight advantage there to Gitter, mainly with the low line. Heitman slots into second, and Dave, we're off to the races once again.
Quite literally off to the races as they haul it into turn 3. Patrick Gitter already gapping Heitman by 0.3 of a second. Everybody here is all but side by side. We take a look at Neil Pearson in the number 6 right here. Oh, I'm sorry, the 58, sorry. He's alongside of the number 6. We see Pearson holding his own on the high side. He's battling it out right now with Paul Hill as they come down the back chute and into turn number 3. We can see Pearson. My goodness, I can't read tonight. We can see Pearson here side by side. There's a lot of speed locked up there on the high side of this racetrack. The thing is, he's going to get a great launch on turn exit, but it's getting into the turn that's going to be a bear for him as they come down the backstretch. It just looks like he's going to try to stay up there, save some tire, and keep him cool for a little while longer, as long as he can match Hill step for step.
Yeah, that's a tall ask. Hill step for step, especially running on the high side of the racetrack. You know, that's a tough challenge, especially early on here with limited amounts of rubber being put down on the racetrack. Whoa, another big moment there for the 6 of Hill, as he's been flirting with that inside retaining wall coming down off the top. And the 11 and the 6 still don't have it sorted. Eckert being relentless, as it's still a John Force special, you know, into the corner.
Yeah, they are drag racing for sure down the back chute, and Ethan Eckert looks to have the edge here. Here he goes. He's able to literally just hurl it into turn number 3 in the AutoZone Pennzoil Ford Mustang as he rolls out of turn 4, crossing the start-finish line here on lap number 16. He's going to come out the victor over Paul Hill in the 6. Now he goes ahead and puts Neil Pearson in the crosshairs as he gets a little shove from Paul Hill.
Something tells me Paul Hill may be a little displeased with Eckert, but that's the right decision from Hill, especially having 2 big moments like that, only 17 laps in. Let that guy take the spot. Let Eckert go. I agree with the decision. Get in line, get in your rhythm as we start to get that single file daisy chain rolling, something that you alluded to a little bit earlier, Dave.
Yeah, you know, these Cup cars are, I don't want to say not good side by side, but they become very unstable side by side. So one of the strategies that we see here in the Cup Series, amongst lots of series here on iRacing, is, you know, let's go single file. We'll pick one another off one at a time, as we can see Chris Claude kind of falling behind Caden Norfree. It looked for a second like he was going to take on Caden Norfree, but now he looks to the inside once again. So Claude not having a bad night so far. He's running in 22nd position after qualifying 18th. But, you know, we see a lot of these drivers going single file just because it's easier to try to attack one at a time rather than try to get, you know, 2 and 3 for one.
Yeah, and when you start to go full-blown Las Vegas mode like that and get greedy, that's when this place will jump up and bite you. Well said. So we continue here now to watch Nolan Hodgson in that 12 machine. Take it back to the point now. Hey, it's not a problem. It's all that melted chocolate you still got on your fingers. I was telling you about that Butterfinger.
Yeah, that's what it is. And Butterfingers are my. Don't get me started on Butterfinger.
That's my my weak spot as well there. So Gitter has been getting good. You name it, getting gone. I mean, can't think of how many words we've used to describe Gitter over the past 4 weeks since I've been back here, Dave. Look at that margin, almost 0.7 of a second now over Derek Heitman. You can see him just coming into the frame. There he is in that number 76 machine. He's up 1 spot from where he started. Now, let's look at the lap times. Gitter, last time by at the line at 21:71. The Heitman's 21:68. So, while Heitman slightly faster that lap, if you look at the last handful, Gitter's been the better car, which is why he has been able to grow that gap. Is Heitman now trying to kind of re-strategize inside that race car to figure out what he needs to do to start running that 21 back down?
Yeah, you know, Heitman, as you had mentioned, he was running slightly faster. He's 0.02 of a second faster. Almost, there he is, 1/100th of a second faster that time. So the time itself doesn't look that impressive, but in the big picture, as you're going to run, 400 total laps, it's going to start to pay off for him as long as he continues to hit those marks. And, again, to your point, you talked about Las Vegas. Sometimes you do get a little greedy here on the racetrack. You gain a spot, maybe you gain 2 spots, and all of a sudden you think you're invincible. And that's usually when the mistakes get made here, as we watch Derek Heitman literally all by his lonesome as we drop back now to Ethan Eckert, who's trying to hold off Sean Rogers and, at the same time, Paul Hill. This is only going to end one way for Eckert. He's either going to have to let Hill by or Rogers by. And all of a sudden, Rogers makes the move to the inside, and suddenly I look like I know what I'm talking about as, whoa, Eckert just gets a crazy jump over top of Rogers as they haul it down the back chute. He's not willing to give up 7th position right now for anything.
No, he is trying to entrench himself in that position and will not let go as the pressure is mounting all over that 11 machine. AutoZone on board again tonight as Rogers was rocking the high side. Then you see that beautiful move where he slipstreamed him down to the bottom. I try to make that. I'm going to wind up in the catch fence now as we go on board with Ethan Eckert, Chicago, Illinois native, right there off the banks of the Great Lakes. Riding just behind that 18 of Bobby Anderson, this inside the top 10, currently being slotted in that 7th place position, up 3 spots from where he started. Everything seems to be going the right way for Eckert. And as you mentioned, Dave, small baby steps. You don't want to try to get too much too soon. And that seems to be the strategy that Eckert's currently employing right now.
Andrew Dyson with a breath of brake smoke coming out of the back of the 40 that he shoots to Nolan Hodgson. Hodgson has been pretty quiet tonight so far, running in 12th position right now. He's only up 2 slots just ahead of Ryan Samuelson. And I'll tell you what, I've been here for a long time in this league. If I want to look in the rearview mirror and see who's back there, I would love to see Ryan Samuelson back there.
Bless you.
Samuelson, thank you. Samuelson is one of those drivers where he is a very complimentary driver. When he gets a good head of steam, get out of his way. But when he's just kind of back here laying around, trying to feel everybody out, he's the perfect partner to be nose to tail with in the early part of a race as we work lap number 31 of 400 here at Richmond Raceway. Dave Riegel and Matt Mettler with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Looks like, the Allen experience, and it's an experience, trust me. He said he's pulling for Dave. I appreciate it, but right now I'm 33 laps down.
Gotta love and admire that guy's spirit, man. He didn't even look to see if you were in the race. He saw you on the ticker, automatically going with loyalty. Obviously part of the SRM gang here, but shout out to him.
It is.
Yes, it is.
I'll tell you what. There's nothing more threatening than watching all of us walk up the ramp at Miami. And, I think to myself, I hope that these people are terrified as they see us come up. And they only had one choice, to just let us through. As the Allen experience also checking in, saying that his favorite candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And I'm a peanut butter cup fiend.
Well, I can tell you this. I'm over my candy allotment for the entire next 4 to 5 months in one day only. But hey, you're supposed to do that today, right?
Well, you were checking the candy for, like, poison and weapons and stuff for the kids, right?
Sure, we'll go with that. That's a good cover.
That's what you were just checking it to make sure it was safe.
Yeah,
for
and
instance, I've I have plowed through almost an entire bag of Sour Patch Kids jelly beans today. Right now, the fine folks at Atlantis are loading up a case of insulin for me.
Send one this way too.
So, a fun story about the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Have you ever heard about how they came to be?
I've heard bits and pieces, but I probably don't have the knowledge that you do on this topic.
You've heard bits and pieces. Would they be Reese's Pieces? Too soon?
You see where I was going with that.
So there was a man named H.B. Reese. He was an employee of the Hershey Chocolate Factory
in Pennsylvania,
back in the early part of the 20th century. And H.B. worked there, got fired, and, like some people who are former employees of a certain organization, he suddenly became disgruntled. So instead of, finding another place to work, he decided to work for himself. He struck out on his own as he created, basically what we now know as the Peanut Butter Cup. And the only thing that he asked, upon his death was that as long as his family continues to get the royalties from using their last name, he's fine with them using it. They never changed the name. Sure, they have, multiple varieties, but they're set forever.
Not to change the subject here, but speaking of Reese's Pieces, Sean Rogers there gave the business to the 11, and just as that got finished up, the 97 along felt compelled to go up there and knock on the back door of the 44.
I gotta be honest, I rarely see bump drafting at a short track.
It's motivational.
Motivational nudging.
Sorry about that, guys. I think I cut out there. Yeah, but motivational nudging, exactly. It's it's a great way. That's how I describe it. It's short track racing. Sure, why not try to bump draft? I mean, if you can grab 100th here, 100th there, as you were saying earlier, Dave, it's all about, getting a little more advantage than the other guy you're going up against, right?
Well, and I'll tell you what, this young man out of Chicago, Ethan Eckert, I've had a chance to get to know him and chat with him a little bit here and there. And this kid wants to win. He wants a checkered flag in that trophy case more than I want to lose 35 pounds. Like, it's incredible. And, he is going to, come hell or high water, wind up in victory lane at some point this season. And, he's out here battling alongside the best. I mean, Sean Rogers, holy Christmas, he's leading the points as this is like a battle of the Midwesterners. And he's leading the points with no wins. And yet Ethan Eckert said, I want to score more, as he's still in tow behind Rogers. Matt Long being scored right now in, 8th position right now. So this is suddenly a three-way battle for 6th position on lap 43.
Yeah, this is the Hornet's Nest. The best action on track right now is right here, and we have you fixated on it. And, you mentioned Sean Rogers earlier. He is a great race manager. He knows when not to go. He understands you can't win it on lap 1. And you always see the poise and the self-control and the veteran mindset that comes out of that driver each and every week. I don't care about wins right now. This man is consistent, up in the top 5, top 10. Wins will come for the 44, and he's leading the points right now. I'm not worried about that W in the win column yet for that 44. It's now that 40 machine. Andrew Dyson, he's slicing underneath the 6. He's going to take that spot.
I'll tell you what, I like the line. Dyson is slicing, and slicing he is, as he's now hooked onto the rear bumper of the 97 of Matt Long. He was just battling it out with Paul Hill in the 6 as we're here on lap number 45, and something to be starting to pay attention to, Matt, as I just happen to look over and see what lap we were on. Not that I don't pay attention as we peel that curtain back just a little further, but, we're here suddenly on lap 46. It's about soon time for something we rarely get to see at Richmond, and that's green flag pit stops.
Yeah, I didn't want to, jinx anything and cause a caution flag or something, and so we wouldn't see this. But you're right, far few and in between. You're going to lose a ton of time here when you come down to pit road. It's only 1 mile around this place. It's not a very big racetrack. The speeds they're running compared to pit road speed, it's going to feel like a snail's pace. So as a driver, you just have to understand that you're not the only one that's going to have to go through this psychology, from a performance standpoint and from a mental standpoint. Just hit your marks, bring it down pit road, put it in the box, get a clean exit, and you should cycle through just fine.
Riding along here with Ethan Eckert, we can already see that he's starting to fight a tight condition as he gets past the 89 of Steve Herring, now down a lap. Herring will be your lucky dog here as we come closer and closer. Of course, now as I say that, it's looking like it's either going to be Alexander Gangler or Ken Ron as we work our way here on lap number 49 on the way to 50. And, this is going to be one of those situations where, you've got to decide, do I want to come down and take that risk? Because the chances, and here's the interesting thing. You come down early, you get those fresh tires, now those tires are cold. You come out and you're loose as a goose on steroids. Meanwhile, now all of a sudden you bring the caution out because you've lost control of the car with cold tires, and now you're down anyway. So now you're trapped a lap down because you couldn't get it, through turn 3 as you come into 4. So,
Right,
most of these guys right now are praying to whoever they're praying to, and it's Resurrection Sunday. I'm not trying to make a suggestion, but they are praying. Whoa! There's the 35 of Tyler Sexton getting passed by the 76 of Heitman, our race leader. And, these guys are praying right now for a caution.
Praying for a caution, whoever you pray to, doing the rain dance, whatever it is that can help you get that yellow flag. Probably in most of these race teams right now are doing exactly that. As I hop in the SRM cutaway car, though, Dave, the fuel payload with 100%, that's good for 103 laps, give or take, on fuel. Those Dr. Feelgoods, though, are not going to last that long. We're probably getting towards the edge of that envelope, and like as you were saying, praying for a caution, they may not get one. So these teams are going to have to start thinking about coming down pit road for service on those race cars before we start popping tires. That is a possibility if they stay out too long.
No, I agree completely as we work lap number 54 here. And, listen, I don't want to jinx it because, of where we are in this race right now. 54 laps, and the race has been green for 22 minutes. That's not bad, considering, we've already had one caution. And the only drivers that have come down pit road, Seba Cornez, John Wilco, Brian Tarnowski, Timothy Cook on laps 5 and 7. Now, all of a sudden, we started to see Tyler Sexton, as he rolls off of pit road, he just came off on lap number 50. Patrick Gitter on 40 and Caden Norfrey on 30. So a couple of early tire takers, maybe some early adjustments there to the cars as, Heitman here qualified in third, now leads this piece as Dylan Banks runs in fourth right where he had begun. And Dylan Banks about to be assaulted here by Bobby Anderson as he hauls it down into turn 1.
Yeah, Anderson's trying to make him taste the rainbow, which is rocking just off the back of his bumper. That dark horse, look at him. He is good on these long runs, has no problem sending it down to the bottom, charging hard on the inside. 70 at Dylan Banks, doesn't look to contest the spot. He's perfectly fine with letting that 18 go unless he's trying to get a run on the high side. And he does not. Well played there by the 70. You got to survive another day. As Bobby Anderson now goes up to P4. That's going to slot the 70 of Banks now in fifth inside the top 5.
Yeah, climbing here into the top 5 is Dylan Banks as he had a little bit of a recovery drive going on a bit ago. We take a peek back here at Chris Davis, who's getting ready to put the moves on Kavaja Holt to get around in this battle for 15th position. They haul it down here into 3 out of 4, and
Oh! What a save!
There's the 0-0. What a save from Kavaja. And we go under caution for the second time. This is what everybody's been hoping for. And we're going to watch this one more time. Oh. Yee. I don't want to say whose fault that might have been, but I don't think it was Kavaja's.
I think that was the broadcaster's curse. How many times have we cut or specifically called out someone on the racetrack? The minute we cut to them, something happens. Little light contact there, ever so slightly, and around the 0-0 goes, who definitely had a deer in the headlights moment. And what a heads-up save as he was able to lock it down. That car is going to come out virtually unscathed. That dark horse lives to survive and fight throughout, tonight. But hey, that could have been a bad one there, especially with all those cars at speed. thank God they were paying attention, Dave.
Yeah, second caution of the night, 55 laps on that run, and I'll tell you what, that's a heck of a run if you think about it. As, we're here at Richmond, we see a lot of beating and banging at a place like this, and it looks like the leaders are going to stay out, as we've got 10 laps to go here in stage one. Matt Long, Paul Hill, Ethan Eckert, Chris Davis, Sean Kelly, Dalton Mobley all come down pit road. Obviously, we're going to see 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast here as Long in the 97 comes in. Of course, there we go. And that right side's going to pop up magically. It's almost like a little Harry Potter action. Like you can't see them, but you know they're there. As the left side pops up, and he's going to drop it down and be away. The thing is, not enough people came down pit road. They're basically just going to have to bide their time and reshuffle the field at the end of stage one.
I'm just as shocked as you are. I thought there would be a mad dash for pit road for tires and fuel. Not the case, as a handful of cars down pit road, as Dave mentioned, and you're right, they're going to have to slot in the back of this pack and just be patient, buy their time. This will also give us a good idea of how they're able to navigate through traffic on a substantial tire differential. Currently all the other cars, 66 or 62 laps on those tires, excuse me. You would think drivers like Matt Long and others that were just down pit road should have a substantial advantage here, but as you mentioned, this racetrack, it's not as wide as you would like it to be at times. These cars get upset side by side, so test this theory out early. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to monitor the progress here of Matt Long and those other guys as they work their way through the field. As Derek Heitman, Matt DeCiani, Pearson, Anderson, and others say, no tires, no problem. We're good to keep rolling.
Yeah, I'm impressed, in all seriousness, because there's a lot of wear on these tires so far. As connection issues are starting to become an issue here, or a factor, I should say. I've seen a few drivers starting to blink out a couple of times tonight. We'll have to keep a closer eye on that for sure. Of course, during the wreck there between Kavaja and the 74 of Chris Davis, a few cars, I had enough connection issues where I couldn't see in for the whole crash. So, going to have to keep an eye on that. I wasn't expecting any of that since most of the weather on the East Coast is clear.
It is, and that's not going to be the case over the next couple days. Expecting some more severe weather, but like I said, that's in the future. I really think this is an iRacing server type issue. Looking at all the drivers that have had issues tonight, I've been having some problems. You typically don't see these drivers have any sort of connection issues, if not ever. And for these many drivers to be having problems, I'm going to lean more towards a server side issue that's giving us the havoc here tonight, Dave.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I sat in a public server, and obviously I did yesterday. Not that I want to keep babbling about it. It was just the exciting part here, sitting at the computer. But one thing that I noticed is a lot more drivers than used to be had connection issues. So that may be something that iRacing corporate has to figure out as we move further through the year and see if they can't get that corrected.
Well, the more members you sign up and bring on, that increases the load. You also have to increase your capacity to support those users. It's, you have to, if they build, the saying is, if you build it, they will come. But it's back and forth. It's back and forth. You always got to make sure you have enough bandwidth to support the users that are on the service as we get ready to rock and roll here once again. Old tires up front and virtually throughout most of the field. Only a few select drivers came down and put 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on it. As we watch the 76 of Derek Heitman, currently leads right now. He's going to have the trigger here on the restart. Matt DeCiani in second on that outside of row 1. Then you're going to have Pearson and Anderson. That pace car is going to pull back off into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air one more time, Dave.
A good restart from Derek Heitman. 5 to go here in stage number 1 as we get rolling. Heitman gets the jump over DeCiani in the 14, and we see DeCiani trying to hold on to him. This may have been what they needed just to try to bunch themselves back up. It takes some of the thinking out of track position for sure, and it's a hornet's nest behind them. If trouble's going to happen, this may be where it comes from. All of a sudden, the 40 of Andrew Dyson is all over the rear end of Dylan Banks, and not in a fun way, that's for sure, as Sean Rogers works the outside here. Banks trying to hold his own. It's going to take a shove from the 40 to get him around the 18 of Bobby Anderson.
Yeah, he's going to need some help, and I don't know if that's such a good idea given the amount of laps that are on those tires, as now the 70 is going to clear caution back in the air.
Trying to find out what brought this caution out, as it looks like Alexander Gangler just hauled down pit lane. So we'll see if maybe there is I see an issue.
I'm getting a report that multiple cars may have been involved.
Yeah, I'm getting some weird reports here as lap 68 going to be our stage break. Here's riding along with Alexander Gangler. Oh. Let's see if we can get a run here on his gearbox.
Oh, that's got a little too happy there with the loud pedal. Broke traction in the back, and it took off.
Now, Gangler calling out netcode almost immediately. So it may have either been a connection issue or, it's got to be connection. Look at all of these cars blinking.
Oh, my goodness. I haven't seen it that bad in a long time.
It's going to be a conversation Chris and I have to have eventually, as looks like our stage winner,
Matt Long, if my timing and scoring is correct with all of the intermittent connection drops going on.
Trying to find out who was scored as the stage winner on 68. As Matt Long is currently our race leader. What a wild end to stage one.
As I can tell you, our main producer is working on it. They're looking back at the live footage here. See if we can get that determination for everyone here in YouTube on the broadcast.
Well, we'll have to wait for a decision from race control on who the stage one winner was. Right now, your race leader going to be Matt Long, who came in on lap 60 during that previous caution there. So when we get restarted, it's going to be Matt Long, Ethan Eckert, Chris Davis, Paul Hill, Sean Kelly, your top five, as we try to get a hold of. I'll be right back. I'm going to go find out who got scored as the winner there of stage one.
As Dave drops down to race control, I want to thank everyone once again for joining us right here live on SRM in prime time. You're thinking about joining the family? It's simple. All you got to do is smash the like button, ring the bell, come home to 6 days of high-flying, high-octane racing action right here on SRM. We're under the lights in Richmond State. And unfortunately,
in another twist of fate, we don't even have race control tonight. Well, there we were trying to pay attention to the wreck, and dumb things happen to timing and scoring, and here we are on lap 72 of 400. Now, of course, stage two going to be slightly shorter, but you probably won't notice due to the length of the race overall, as we're going to go to lap 230.
So we got a long ways to go. Stage one in the books. Stage two upon us. All these guys that came down pit road when we thought they were nuts for everyone else stayed out on the racetrack, they certainly proved us wrong, Dave. Matt Long's going to inherit the lead. Then you have the 11 of Eckerd. Chris Davis, beast mode performance in that 74 machine. He's going to slot third. Paul Hill, Sean Kelly, and Tarnowski. And I believe those were Timothy Cook and Chris Custer also came down pit road. So those guys inherently now all cycle to the front. Interested to see how this battle is going to shake out.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The wrecks that caused these last pair of cautions, weren't near the front. It's not like somebody was battling it out for 10th position. And, that's where I would have expected to see some of the mayhem crack loose here. However, they happen back further in the field, which is fine. It is what it is. But, a lot of these drivers toward the rear, they need to try to keep their head attached to their shoulders, especially as we have such a long stage here for 2, working our way toward lap number 130. So, 230. So 160 laps getting through. It's going to be a long stage.
It is. Green flag back in the air once again. Matt Long brings that Dark Horse Mustang back to life one more time as these V8s ring out that glorious rumble here in the house of Richmond. The 74, Chris Davis, he's going to take and just like that, caution back in the air once again. Dave cautions, Breed cautions, and that seems to be the case right now as we got to slow things down one more time.
This one may have originated in or around Dyson. He makes contact with the 70.
Oh my!
There goes Sean Kelly, the 29 of Tanner Marty. And coming to a blissful stop is the 35. My goodness. Well, I don't even know where to start with that one. We'll take another peek here at that.
I mean,
as we
Rogers gets blindsided. He has no idea that massive hit's coming. Watch this.
No, Rogers is up here on the high side, minding his own business. He sees the 70 and the 40. He thinks he clears the 40 and winds up spinning helplessly down the street.
I don't think he realizes the 40 is going to come back up the racetrack and just absolutely, make him spill his Skittles all over the inside of his race car like that. But like you were saying, Dave, give and take. You got to have patience. And I think that's part of the catalyst why we're seeing, some of these cautions here early on. As a race car driver, sometimes you forget, hey, I got a marathon here I got to run tonight, 400 laps. When you get around other drivers that start racing hard and you're not, you feel like you have to match their intensity. So look for some of these teams and crews to get on the radio, calm these guys down, let them know we got a long ways to go. You have to make it to the end. You have to survive and be alive to win this thing, and we certainly won't get there if this type of action keeps up.
And ding-dong here into the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Rita's Italian Ice, a summertime warm weather staple here in southeastern Pennsylvania. Something always delicious to me here. It looks like it's a little gelato. Always a fan. And they have a Swedish fish flavor that I swear to you, Matt, tastes exactly like Swedish fish.
Well, for me, that would be an immediate no thank you. However, I have an open mind when it comes to food. I would love to check it out. I'm sure all the other flavors are absolutely fantastic, but Swedish fish is not my vibe.
Friendship over.
It's okay. It's okay.
Like Swedish fish.
I can just lie. Would that be better? I love Swedish fish.
Swedish fish are really good, let's just say between the ages of 16 and 18 during a certain period of my life when my mother's basement smelled really funny. Swedish fish were like my go-to munchie.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never really was my thing. Again, I can't remember even really saying I even had them until I was probably like 9, 10 years old. But the first time I had it was the last time. And I probably didn't have them again until I was in my 20s, to be quite honest with you. And then, now today, they're not so bad. So they've grown on me over the years.
It's fine. I'll forgive you this one time.
I appreciate it.
But,
see, we can have differences and still get along and be friends.
That's exactly right. We want to welcome everybody into the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Dave Riegel and Matt Metler with you here on Resurrection Sunday here at Richmond Raceway. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in as you eat your Resurrection Sunday dinner or, maybe your evening snack, if you will, here in prime time. Of course, the only game in town, so make sure that you call everybody else when they say, there's nothing on TV. There's always something on here on Sim Racing Media. We'll look at our schedule for the upcoming week this week as Matt Long takes the green flag and we're back underway.
Matt fires out of the cannon in the 97, and he's going to get about 2-3 car lengths advantage over the battle for second between Eckert and Davis. He's got that Mustang charging high on the outside lane, but Eaton back on the inside. Here comes Davis once again. They're still side by side. Those dark horses are throwing punches as Long continues to drive away from this side-by-side battle.
Eckert and Davis going at it, hammer and tongs right now as Davis works the high side over top of Eckert. Eckert finally getting the edge here, going down the back chute. He absolutely fires a blast here into turn 3 to hijack third position away. Now it's a pair of dark horses and a Toyota Camry. 1, 2, 3 they go in this battle atop the pile. Sean Kelly at the same time trying to get around Matt DiCiani as DiCiani just fights Kelly off one more time in that Grease Monkey Motorsports number 23. The Apex Design Chevrolet, our first bow tie in the pile as he is here in the top 5. Qualified in 6th position, but they are really going at it out here like a bunch of dogs.
Oh, this is all-out trench warfare right now. Don't let that single line fool you. They are on the charge right now. As you can see here now, the 14 closing back in on the 6 of Hill, who currently runs in that 4th place position. You can hear how hard these guys are running as multiple cars grazing the wall at times. When you see them doing that, you know they're going as hard as they possibly can. As we go back now to Matt Long in that 7. Thank you. 44, Sean Rogers now in that 44 machine, obviously. BMP Performance Beast Mode trying to get by the 24s. He's going to have the advantage now on the inside. Able to complete that pass down into no, as the 24 gets a great run on the inside. Decides he wants to contest that spot. There's the 88 just up the road from him. Alex Princeton, and we got what a save! And Gangler has to make a gangle out of it and throw the caution flag as Samuelson just about had that drift mode slider corralled.
Yeah, Samuelson definitely wasn't in the mood for this one. We'll take a look here at the replay as we look from high above in our blimp cam as we're waiting for it to reload. There it is. We see Dalton Mobley on the high side over top of Ryan Samuelson. Samuelson gets in front of him and just gets a shove from Mobley and goes dirt tracking through the turn. Oh!
So he initiates it and finishes it off. That sounds very familiar to a similar instance I had in week 2 with that same driver.
Well, you know, Mom always says that if it's on your plate, you need to finish it, and finish it did Dalton Mobley.
Oh, he did. He took care of it, you know. He, as Tony Trapasso would say, he lit the wick and also was the C4 at the same time as well.
I mean, listen, that has to be one of the most accurate illustrations that I've ever heard. And, of course, he was the ambassador of analogies, if you will, or the admiral of analogies. And that has to be one of my favorites from back in the day. Because, you know, a lot of times out here on the racetrack, you know, you're working your tail off, and maybe you get a little bit full of yourself. Other times, maybe, you know, sometimes the bear gets you, and other times you get the bear. And, you know, for these drivers out here, they're just trying to get around this thing. They've got a long way to go, just less than 150 laps to go here in stage 2. It's quite a run.
It is quite a run. And looking back at that replay, I don't think that was intentional. I don't think the two anticipated he was going to check up like that. You know, and making contact when these cars are loaded up in the corner like that, it doesn't take much to get them out of shape. Samuelson had a great recovery drive going. I think he was going to be able to hang on to it. And then, for whatever reason, Mobley came back up and administered another shot there, which ended up throwing the caution flag out.
Well, as we get ready to rack, stack, and do it all over again, Matt Long and Ethan Eckert going to sit in the front row. Chris Davis, Paul Hill, and Matt DiCiani going to make up your top 5. Derek Heitman, Sean Kelly, Brian Tarnowski, Nolan Hodgson, and Timothy Cook going to make up your top 10. Tarnowski last came down on lap number 5, according to timing and scoring. That is either a heinous mistake or a strong driver.
That's a strong long-run driver, and I always refer to him as one of the long-run boys. The longer that 28's on the racetrack, 95% of the time, the better that guy, that race car gets. I am not shocked at all to see the 28 out there with some tires that I wouldn't even fathom about tiptoeing onto the racetrack with.
Well, and, Brian Tarnowski and I have a history. When I came into this league, we were like opposite poles of a set of magnets. We were continually drawn to one another, running mid-pack and further back. And, of course, I get out of the way, and all of a sudden it's like maybe I was what was hindering Tarnowski in his career here in S&M. But he has absolutely honed this racing skill to something that I am incredibly proud to see. And, of course, Brian's late wife, Stacy, is who we've named this league for, out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. And Stacy, of course, losing her battle with cancer a couple of years ago. And you know what? We are here because of her. And Brian, we love you. Good luck the rest of the way. The old tire brigade starting to creep up through.
That's right. You can never count him out, and want to shout him out as well for everything that he's done for this series. Cannot thank him enough for what he does. Is that 28 slots in that 8th place position. Lights out on the pace car. The calm before the storm once again. Eckert and Log on the front row. Row number 2 is Davis and Hill. DeCiani going to round out the top 5 as we get ready to rock and roll here one more time from Richmond.
Matt Long going to have control of the field as we come into turn number 3, the iRacing.com pace car. Piddling on past us as that pace car has led quite a few laps. However, Matt Long looks to extend his lap leading streak as he gets the jump in the Geico restart zone, and we're back underway. Ethan Eckert trying to get up here to the lead. He's battled his way through the field all night long, but he's got to go through Chris Davis first. This time it's going to be Eckert on the top, Davis on the bottom as they come down the backstretch, and I got to believe that Eckert thinks he's finally figured this one out, as he just has to get right in front of Davis. There he goes to make it single file and go after Long.
Yeah, they both got phenomenal restarts there. The 11 of Eckert and the 74 of Davis. And now as he's dropping back just a little bit, now it looks to fall into the clutches of, I was going to say the 6 of Hill, but he makes contact with the wall. Now he has to go on defense because the 14 is there of DeCiani, side by side, coming off the corner.
This has got to be some of the best racing that we see all week long. And I mean, last week I covered 5 races, 4 of which were on a road course. And maybe that's just part of my excitement here tonight. But these drivers really get it on with one another. I mean, they know that they're running full-length, races. They know what the rules are because they're easy to follow when it's a full season. And they absolutely put on an incredible show. As all of a sudden, Derek Heitman's starting to have some connection issues. We'll have to, oh no. Here it is, Tarnowski and Pearson perhaps as the caution flag flies. Let's see what happens here. We're going to watch Tarnowski. Oh, just washes up into the 58. Oh. Yeah, well, I might have cursed Tarnowski. This time, I didn't even have to get near him. I think I cursed him myself from here in the booth.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, the force is strong with us once again, as we were just pumping him up, talking about the 28. And he's a big part of that most recent incident there. Is now under the 6th caution of the day. It just unfortunately came up the racetrack at the wrong time. You can't have 2 cars trying to occupy the same space at the same time. That never works. And unfortunately, Tarnowski got the worst end of that deal, as he's going to be on pit road now trying to make repairs to that ZL1 Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, these are not the cars you were looking for, as the force is unfortunately strong tonight. But you know what? Here's the deal. We're still early on in this race. I mean, if things continue to go the way that they are, Tarnowski's going to have plenty of time to come back up through here and make some progress.
And that's the silver lining. If you want to, as a driver, that's what I look for. Give me something that I can use to inspire myself. And we're not even 100 laps into this thing. We got to go a whole another 100 laps to get to halfway. So you're right. Tarnowski has an eternity. He is patient. He knows what to do. I do not doubt he will be a factor in this race inside the top 10 when that checkered flag flies here tonight.
And with us now is driver the number 28 Chevrolet Camaro, Brian Tarnowski. Hey, Brian, it's Dave. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Brian, listen, what happened there? There we were pumping you up, and I just got done saying that you and I used to have this history of being too close to one another on the racetrack. All I had to do was talk about you tonight, and you washed up into the 58. What happened there?
It said clear, and I lost him in my mirror and came up. It was all my fault on that. Yep.
Always the gentleman.
Not much I could do at this point,
No, but you've got a long race to go. I mean, you're only down a couple of laps. What kind of damage has the 28 had to it?
2 minutes so far. I got a minute done. Went a lap down to do it, but we'll see what we could do. Hopefully more cautions.
Absolutely. And listen, while I have you here, can you give us a little plug here for Trisha's Hope, of course?
Yeah, definitely. Go out to trishashope.com. And what they do is they help people going through cancer with bills and, maybe make their house payment, car payment, that kind of stuff to make it easier so they can at least get their meds.
Yeah, I know that, you've been partnered with Trisha's Hope for a long time. And, of course, listen, if I could, I would come all the way out to Waukesha just to give you a hug and tell you, listen, we're here with you, buddy. We know that what you went through, and listen, we're family. It's horrible, and at the same time, Trisha's Hope gave a lot of us hope as you were going through your battle with Stacy.
Yeah, definitely. I got to meet Trisha personally. She's actually a real good friend now. So, but yeah, she helped us out. So I got to see it firsthand, and it's great when we can do stuff to help others.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. Looks like we're going to be double file, ready to rock and roll. So good luck. And, hey, listen, you can still get the 28 up there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It definitely felt pretty good. It's just a mistake on my part.
All right, we're going to send him back on up into the MPG Racing stable. So, here's the thing, Matt. At least he's up there, taking ownership for the mistake. Some drivers say, we have a lot of those guys that somehow it's never their fault. But, a true athlete, a true, sportsman will always take responsibility when it's on them.
Yep. I mean, true textbook ambassador for SNN, Stacy Strong Cup Series. Can't say enough good things about Brian Tarnowski. And I'm telling you, he thrives in moments like this. When he's got his back against the wall, that 28 always seems to really show up, and I think he's going to be just fine as those lights go out on the pace car. Looking for Long and Eckert to duel it out on the front row. Hard charging Davis DiCiani behind him, and row number 2, that pace car pulls off. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Approach the guy called Restart Zone, and he's going to send it through the floorboards once again. Green flag back in the air, and Long gets fired out of a cannon. What a restart there by the 97.
And in hot pursuit of the 97 is Ethan Eckert here in the 11. And my goodness, what a run he has. I'll tell you what, if Matt Long got shot out of a cannon, Ethan Eckert was like a tail on the bottom of that ball as it flew through the air, because these two drivers had probably the best 1-2 restart I've seen in a long time. Side by side right now is Chris Davis and Matt DiCiani with Derek Heitman. All of a sudden they formed almost like a little coven here, a little three-way go here, bringing along Paul Hill running in 6th position. So 1st through 5th are not decided, as Ethan Eckert has a belly full of fire going after Matt Long.
Yeah, that belly full of fire is looking to pounce as Matt Long's getting put in the pressure cooker. You can see the excitometer really starting to go up inside the cockpit of that 97 as that AutoZone Dark Horse Mustang was on a tear running down that 97 after he got that tremendous restart. Now Eckert is backed off a little bit. just a couple moments ago, he was making contact with the back of that 97. Thought better about it, give him a little bit of breathing room. And just as that battle dies, here comes DeCiani looking to steal the spot from that number 11 as he's working now on the bottom.
All of a sudden, Matt DeCiani trying to go side by side. We go to the roof cam here to take a look here at this battle close up, and we can see DeCiani getting the run here into 3 out of 4. And as we come back onto the front stretch, now Ethan Eckert has the edge. Neither driver right now is able to really edge the other driver out, so to speak, as they're going to have to fight the next couple of laps to sort this out. While they do that, we're going to step aside and take a break here on Sim Racing Media, but don't you worry, we're going to go NASCAR nonstop side by side right here on Sim Racing Media.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive. You know, what was going to happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out. Also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things, and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series is working lap 136 of 400. Dave Regal and Matt Metler in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth with you here for all of the action tonight. We want to thank you for making us a part of your Resurrection Sunday evening, as Amanda Price wishing a happy Easter to everyone. And we appreciate all of you who have tuned in tonight, and there have been quite a few of you, as a matter of fact. So keep those numbers bumping for us as we take a look right now at this battle for 13th position. Alex Princeton holding off Chad Sanner coming in here to turn number 3 as they roll out of 4. They are still side by side coming down toward the start-finish line.
Yeah, bad Chad Sanner in the Dark Horse Mustang. I love the pairing. The 94 Eaton on the bottom. But that 19 Machine not giving up. He's charging back on the high side now. He's going to take the advantage as we come back into the turns 3 and 4 complex. That bottom lane should surge ahead, and it does. But does the 8 play a factor here in this battle, as they still don't have it sorted back into turn 1?
Yeah, that 8 is driven by Alexander Gangler, right now running in 33rd position. And it looks like he respectfully gets out of the way as he's 5 laps down. But right now he's got several drivers to let on by, including Michael Witt. And, you know, that can be more stressful than you understand, especially when you've got the 23 and the 18 side by side in a heated battle as well. I mean, right now that's the battle for 17th position. They kind of have to cool it as they get on by the Milwaukee Machine here on lap number 141.
If you guys recall, if you're tuning in late, unfortunately the 8 of Alexander Gangler was in an incident early on. That's the reason why that car is heavily damaged. And as Dave mentioned, 5 laps off the pace here from Richmond. Go now back up towards the front of the field.
Dylan Banks battling it out as he is chasing down Sean Rogers in the 44. Now he trails the 44 by about a second and a half. What we're really paying attention to is Eric Papineau. I don't know who the heck Ed Papineau is. That's not even the first time I've done that to this poor guy. But Eric Papineau in the 17 is up 26 positions. He has quietly crawled up from 34th and runs back here in 8th place right now. So, you know, I got to give it to him for clawing his way up through here. And I'm afraid we're going to see another segment of green flag pit stops possibly coming, you know, our way in just a few moments here, as Matt Long hasn't been down since lap number 60, Heitman since 69, and Sean Rogers 88. So this top 10, as we take a look at pit strategy, is all over the place, and eventually everybody's going to have to come down and get pit services. There's just about 90, a little bit fewer than 90 laps to go here in stage 2.
Yeah, I mean, the fuel in these cars will last forever, well over 100 laps. The Goodyear either 3 wide. I can't believe it. Oh, it goes wrong. Davis gets popped once, twice, spins down the racetrack. Green flag still in the air, but I have to imagine that caution flag is going to come out as that V-Sport performance.
My goodness. Davis wound up. Now, check this out. We're going to quick have to dump what we were doing, but Davis makes contact with Eckert, and almost as soon as he does, he gets below the racing line. Wow. He's so close to having brought out the caution, but wisely goes into the grass, and we stay green flag racing here for the time being as Chris Davis, unfortunately, meets his maker with Ethan Eckert as Eckert just hip-checked him right into the glass.
Yeah, as soon as I seen that 3 wide, I knew that was going to be a problem. He got hit once, twice, a 1-2 whack-a-mole situation there for the 74, and what situational awareness he had to get that car pointed back the right direction and into the grass to prevent the caution flag. So we now take a look here at that battle we were just watching moments ago. There is the 11 of Eckert running just outside the top 10 in that 11th place position. Just behind him, the 94 of Bad Chad Center in that 12th place position. But last time by, a 23.04 for the driver of the 11. He is substantially faster than anyone. We now look at Hodson there in the 12th. This is going to be for 5th place. You see Rogers in 6th, working on the outside. He seems to have been very committed to the higher lane here in that ZL1 Camaro through 149 laps of competition. I think right now he's just trying to log some laps. You know, you got to get through all the meat of these laps and survive and be alive. We're only at a lap 150. Rogers, a great game manager, and I think that's what he's doing right now. I think he's just trying to ride, get some of the fat, blown out of the way here, as in these laps wound down a little bit before he gets back up there on the wheel. But solid run for Hodson as he's up 9 spots in that 5th place position, having a great run so far in prime time tonight.
Taking a look right now, we're going to hop all the way back here in this battle for 21st position. Dalton Mobley and Kavaja Holt getting ready to go at it as Kavaja all over the rear bumper of Mobley. And they've got a history here in this league, and all of a sudden, Kavaja slides to the low side of Mobley now. They go side by side, and it looks like Kavaja's going to have some help to close the door behind him in the form of Randy Belk, who Belk can easily get here underneath that left rear quarter panel of the deuce, and now that disables Mobley from trying to swing back down underneath Kavaja Holt. Wow. They're going to start this one pretty early as that just rocketed Kavaja just ahead now of Randy Belk.
I don't think he was trying to help him either, but that's the end result. But something tells me that 00 probably has fresh in his memory what happened in the early stages of this race when he just got throttled by the 2. And you're right, these drivers have a history. If these start the fireworks early, watch out, because that type of racing is infectious and could wind up, making this a shootout here in Richmond when all is said and done, as we continue to be on board with the 00 of Kavaja Holt running right now on a recovery drive as he got turned earlier in the race, now working that high side. And look at him almost chop the nose off of the 50 there, being piloted by Randy Belk.
Ooh, contact between Randy Belk and the 33 of Ken Ron. And Ron and Belk managed not to wreck one another. Chris Custer now getting ready to dance in the Coca-Cola 66. And I'll tell you what, I've said it 100 times, and I cannot stress it more for the fine folks at NASCAR. But we need a driver who is just the Coke driver. I mean, I do like the Coca-Cola family of drivers, not a bad thing. But there's just something special about seeing that Coca-Cola logo spin around out here on lap 156 at Richmond. Can I also say another thing about Coca-Cola? Do I have time to do it? I hope we have enough laps to do it.
If we don't, there's a problem.
That means I'm a terrible storyteller. I'm always fascinated at the end of some of these races, in the real life races, that is, when the driver gets out, and let's just say for argument's sake that it's at the end of the Coke 0400 that they usually hold, in July down in Daytona. And what's the first thing that this driver grabs on his way out the car? A Coca-Cola or a Coke Zero, whatever. I can only imagine the amount of foam, fizz, and and gastric distress that immediately puts your body into as soon as that bottle hits your lips.
Oh yeah, and you can tell some of the older drivers that don't even really make a movie-like attempt to even look like you drank a good amount of it. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, those guys used to take baby sips. Denny Hamlin as well. But that's exactly what it does. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Or out, playing sports in hot climate for, a couple hours. The last thing you want to do is take a hit off a carbonated beverage.
I think the smartest drivers are the ones that come out. Maybe they take a baby sip, but then turn the bottle around and just shower everybody in Coke. I feel like, but unless it's Miami and you shower everybody in Coke, that's a different type of Coke. But, I feel like it's got to be the worst. And you have that sponsor obligation, you have those obligations, but I feel like that would be where I would draw the line.
Well, yeah, it's all about showmanship at that level, right? The camera's on you. Everyone's gonna remember you spraying the Coke all over the place, all over your teammates. Versus if you didn't do that, you just took a baby sip and put the lid back on it. So a little bit of acting required there, but these Cup guys, they got it down to a sciences. Now here goes the 97 of Matt Long, who has been out there strong, leading seems like an eternity right now, as he's trying to put the 00 of Kavaja Holt a lap down. You got dark horse on dark horse action. The Atlanta Jordan native seems to have the sauce to get this place. He's on a rail right now. Doesn't look to be going backward anytime soon, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Long last came down on lap number 60 for pit service. Now we're starting to see a couple of drivers trickle in here. So, green flag pit stops have been underway for about 3 laps. But, at this point, Matt Long is 103 laps into this tire run. And to me, that is just artistry in the highest level as we get that graphic up there. 103 laps for Long, 94 for Heitman and DeCiani, 75 for Rogers, 95 for Hodgson and Banks. The freshest tires in this group belong to Bobby Anderson here in the 18, that Skittles machine, as we take a look back here with 65 laps. Ethan Eckert, even as he seems to have strapped a V-plow to the front of the 11, just got his way into the top 10. And, I mean, realistically, everybody up here is due.
I can't believe, looking at the number of laps on this set of Dr. Feelgoods for the drivers that, you just mentioned there. A lot of the other leagues that I broadcast and cover, Dave, we would have seen them on pit road, a long time. It's, probably at least 2 stops to these guys 1 stop. That's how good the competition is in this series. The type of poise and self-control you have to control that throttle pedal, be gentle on the brake, rotate gingerly back into the gas. All the little extra things that you have to do to be able to compete at this level in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. Sometimes it just blows my mind to watch what these guys do. Is now here comes Hill, as he's going to try to find a way around Eckert. You can see him going to send it into the corner, try to outbrake him, and he does. He gets to the apex, and doesn't look like Hill is going to contest the spot, as I think he's battling an extremely tight race car at the moment. Hill was very strong earlier on in the run. In fact, he was just about there. No, he was battling for the lead at times. Seems to have used his tires up a little too early, if that's even really a possibility, but nonetheless. And Dave, I mean, we're talking about the amount of laps on these tires, but it seems like Eckert's probably struggling the most out of the drivers in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, taking a look at Andrew Dyson here in the 40, he's running in 7th position. He's got a hornet's nest of angry drivers behind him. Matt Long now hauling it down pit road as we speak in the 97, so he's finally going to blink. Now we should start seeing a lot more drivers come down pit road, as most of them were in and around that 69 and 69 through 88 segment here, as we see Derek Heitman, now your new race leader. He last came down also on lap number 69. So Matt Long down pit road. It's going to be interesting to see where this all shakes out, because coming down here under caution, as Andrew Dyson now does the same thing, will cost you at least 2 laps every time you come down.
Yeah, 2 laps minimum with the pit delta that we have here tonight from pit road entry to exit. And that's if you get your crew to put up just a grand slam of a stop. As we see now the 40 in his box, Jack coming up on the car. 4 tires going to be the call to Kansas Sunoco Race Fuel. And here comes Sean Rogers. He's going to give up that 7th place position for service on his ZL1 Ford Mustang. As he's got his pit box.
Ford Mustang.
Did I say ZL1 Ford Mustang?
You did.
Oh my God.
I think I smell burnt toast.
You know, Dave, I was thinking about how you used to call my Ford Mustang when it was a Dodge. You had a name for it. I seem to have instantly just did that live on the air. So
nothing will ever beat the day that it was Tony and I were oh, here comes Chris Claude. Nothing will ever beat when Tony and I used to call the Western States Racing League, and there was a driver there who was in the number 3 GM Goodwrench, and it was a Ford that was painted like a Dodge.
Oh, I heard about this.
So it was a Mopar Goodwrench Mustang. And every time we would try to say this thing, because of course it couldn't be some ho-hum average driver. It had to be somebody that was always up in the top 10 that we were talking about on a regular basis. And every time we said it, it always sounded like we suddenly developed a speech impediment where we couldn't get the words out because it didn't feel right.
Yeah, I remember you guys actually telling me about this, and I was watching a couple of clips from the broadcast, and I couldn't get my head wrapped around it either. But that just goes to show you, don't think about things that Dave Regal has said to you while you're racing, because it'll come up and bite you here in real time. As how did I come up with a ZL1 Ford Mustang? That is just brilliant on my part. See what you started.
It's a disease. It's like herpes. It always comes back.
But you know what? Those were good times. We watched 7 weeks of.
I relish the time that I spent, although that I was usually exhausted by the end of a Western States Racing League event, because here on the East Coast, by the time they would get over, it'd be 1 in the morning. But, I mean, some of those races were the best times of my life because we would just get downright stupid and silly. And Tony was doing those races for nothing. I was, of course, the only person that was paid on that broadcast, and it was one of those where we would just sit there and vamp and riff all night long. It was such a good time. And speaking of a good time, Michael Witt bringing the 88 down after he's had a pretty good run so far tonight. He comes out of 10th position. Derek Heitman, still your race leader here in the 76. He hasn't been down since lap number 69. He's got 110 laps on these tires now, and I am absolutely in awe when I see literally your top 6 all with 110 laps, your top 7, Ethan Eckert with 118 laps, as now Heitman comes down pit road. Right now, Cook is the only driver with less than 100 laps on his tires up front.
Yeah, what planet is this that we're on right now? I can't believe the type of lap numbers they're putting on these Goodyear Eagles tonight. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring out is caution. That's going to have to wait. Is caution now on the racetrack as we work lap 180 of the scheduled 400 miles or 400 laps from Richmond here this evening.
I want a quick touch on this. At the end of that run, Matt Long still ran at 2180. Eric Papineau was still at 2214. Hodgson, Banks, and DeCiani were all sub 22 second laps. Sub 22 second laps, yeah. At the end of that run, 23 seconds for Timothy Cook, as now, of course, everybody's lap times are starting to change due to the caution here. And our 7th caution for cause this evening, we're going to take a run back here and see what it is. I'm always fascinated when somebody goes, oh, what's the secret tonight? It's tire saving. This isn't tire saving. This is like Barry's Bargain Basement tire saving event.
Yeah, or something you would see us do in the military, trying to get like 30 years out of an MRE. That's the equivalent of what they're doing out there on the racetrack tonight with these tires. It's just unprecedented, the type of life they're getting out of them. I cannot believe that these numbers we're seeing are correct. Is now the 14 going to complete his stop in for service? 4 tires and fuel going to be the call there.
Going to take a peek here at John Wilco, as he was involved in this wreck. We're watching that light blue 62 just behind the 24. Oh, the 24 gets loose and
that's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah. That's
and then he comes up and he gets absolutely yeeted in the business end.
That's no way to be. You can't go that way. As John Wilco quick flashes his way onto pit road. Now we're gonna watch the 24 in front of him. The 24 gets loose out of 2. John brushes him and goes into the wall, and of course that inner wall is not a safer barrier. And then just got rammed. Oh.
Yeah, it looked like he hit the Miami Coca-Cola a little too hard there, coming off the corner. Gets squirrely, lost traction, and then it all just meleeed from there. And, when your tires are worn at this level, these cars also don't stop very well. As you can see, the aftermath there is he took a beating. There's a 7th caution now underway here in Richmond. Stacy Strong at Cup Series action tonight, as always, on Sunday night. Want to thank everyone in the chat once again for hanging out with us tonight. And Dave, go ahead.
Looks like Kendall Lotze, or Lotza Kendall, I don't know. But says long as in first he was, and now he's not anymore. Then, of course, Amanda Price still cheering on Sean Rogers. We've got over 203 viewers tonight, so keep it coming. As I'll tell you what, that's something that always kind of scratches that itch, and it makes it worthwhile to slide here into the booth.
Could not agree with you more, Dave. Tonight, just the amount of viewers that come in and engage and interact with us over the course of these Sunday nights at times is absolutely just exhilarating. We certainly love to see it. The drivers, everyone else on the league side, they get amped up about it as well. DeCiani, going to switch it back here to race mode real quick. DeCiani in that 14 machine now. He is going to cycle back to the lead. He was last down pit road on 181, so just last cycle. What I wanted to talk about before that caution came out, Dave, is the amount of time that Heitman was giving up on the racetrack comparable to Long with those fresh tires. I was worried that he may stay out there too long if this stayed green. It didn't happen this time, but I think that could become a factor later in the race if it stays green. You give up a considerable amount of time out there when you're on, tires that, should have been changed at least 2 times under normal circumstances, compared to someone with fresh Dr. Feelgoods.
Yeah, in fact, I want to try to get a hold of, all of a sudden, all at once, I want to try to get a hold of Ethan Eckert here, who was out for 121 laps on those tires.
What?
121 before he came down. I want to know what that car felt like. We're going to get a hold of the young man right now. Out of the Joe Gibbs Racing stable. Hey, Ethan, it's Dave and Matt up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, I do.
My man, listen, we are dying to know how on God's green earth were you able to stay out for 121 laps on these tires?
That's a really good question. I'm not really too sure myself, especially since I'm not that great at tire saving.
Okay, so that levels the playing field. Okay, he's just as perplexed as we are, Dave.
I mean, I'm curious. Was the car loose, tight? What did you have going? Oh, never mind. We're going back green flag racing. We'll talk to you later.
Oh, we're good. No, you're fine. Oh, we're back on yellow. We're fine.
Oh, another quick caution as Richard Pruitt crashed.
Yep.
So, tell us, was the car tight, loose, or was it just neutral?
Oh, it was as tight as could be. It was awful to drive.
Well, congrats to you, man, for keeping it alive for 121 laps. You were the longest out of the top 10 that time by who stayed out. And I'll tell you what, that was art.
Well, thank you.
All right, buddy, listen, good luck. We're going to send you back on up into your racetrack, into your race chat, and maybe we'll see you on the other side here.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
We're going to send Ethan on back up there. Matt, what a feat.
What a feat. I mean, listen to the poise inside that race car. We're talking to him. It's going back to live action out there. Not even phase. It's okay. Oh, caution out on the racetrack. That would have not been the tone of my voice, and probably a lot of other drivers in that moment. But just calm, cool, collected Eckert as the big takeaway there, though.
Yeah,
he was just as shocked as we were.
I would have been telling us to get away as Richard Pruitt, just before we went green, came off of pit road, and I'm afraid this might have been what brought the caution out. Yeah, he came to a dead stop in the middle of the racetrack for reasons I'm not quite sure of. The green flag waved, and that's what brought it back out.
You know, it seems like ever since Michael Waltrip Racing pulled a famous, infamous move here, others try to recreate or make their own mark, and I just don't understand why he would come to a stop like that, knowing that a caution would probably occur, as there was no reason to. I'm not in the race car. I'm just assuming based upon what I've seen, but that is very interesting move there. Is now under the 8th caution on the evening as we just went back to green flag racing momentarily. No change at the front of this as Matt DeCiani continues to carry the torch here at the front over Dylan Banks in second, Nolan Hodson currently residing in third, Derek Heitman, Ethan Eckert. That's going to round out the top 5. 6th belongs to the 94 of Chad Center. 7th, Eric Popino. Up 30 positions, Timothy Cook in the 09 ride. Not 3, not 13, 30 positions. Matt Long was leading a lot here after this pit stop, now cycled back to 9th. Look for him to come back towards the front. And rounding out the top 10 is the 6th of Paul Hildave.
Yeah, and as we get ready to go back green flag racing, the iRacing.com pace car light's still on. So we've got another lap of caution left. This should be second to last lap. Everybody trying to get themselves, lined back up. It's incredibly frustrating as a driver when you go back green flag racing, you get on the loud pedal, and almost immediately you have to step back on the binder and get that thing slowed back down because, your brain is telling you go, 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 and the flag stand is telling you stop, 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 stop.
And some drivers absolutely will, have to, get themselves mentally, psychologically reset after that, as it just will give you fits. It does it to me. That's the worst thing ever. You're trying to go through a rhythm. Okay, get ready for the restart. Be on the attack, but also be on the defense. You want to get out of that and get back to running green flag laps and then going that right back to a caution. That's going to get you off of your egg game, and used to infuriate me at times is that pace car back out once again, as Dave just said, and we're going to have to get these guys sorted, shuffled, and do it all over again. Matt DeCiani wondering how many restarts he's going to have to actually win here to get the lead tonight.
And they added an extra lap of caution here as, for reasons I'm not quite sure of, the pace car lights went out and everybody went double file, and then next thing you know, the pace car lights came back on. So obviously somebody toward the tail end of the field had not caught back up and basically was a sitting duck. So one more time they'll do it again here on lap 192. We're approaching halfway through this race, and I am impressed so far to see how many cars are still left out here.
I am as well. I thought the attrition would have been more of a factor, but these drivers just doing a great job being on the ball, spotting the wrecks, and able to avoid catastrophe. As there's been a couple nail biters here. If it went the other way just a little bit, could have a lot more cars, currently out of the race, but not the case. As those lights out now. Once again, Matt DeCiani on the bottom in that 14. That Camaro has been FAST fast. Another hot rod on the outside. Banks, Heitman, and Hodson. That's the top 4. Pace car is going to pull off. And DeCiani's going to have the button, and he's going to uncork that puppy. Green flag back in the air, and he catches Banks on the snoozer. As he's going to get out to a 3.5 car length advantage. First side-by-side action, you guessed it, Heitman on the outside, going up against the 12th as we go to the eye in the sky. You can see Hodson, he is rim riding that yellow line at times, especially on corner entry. He's going to try and force the 76 up the racetrack. 3 wide, they're going to split the difference. The last time this did not work good.
Oh my goodness. That was a work of art. The 70 realized almost instantly that it was 3 wide. He was the meat, and he decided to back out right away. That was the smartest move of the race as far as I'm concerned. Some really good heads-up driving from Dylan Banks in the number 70 Chevrolet Camaro. As he's got that, whoa! All of a sudden, Hodgson here just shot his way back out. Let's see what happened that made Hodgson clear out. And now they're wrecking on the backstretch, reportedly. And, Hodgson got loose and made him get out of line.
Yeah, he tried to get too greedy there. He just locked the front tires up, slid up the racetrack.
They are still back here like an angry mob at the end of a bad game. Caution is out now as Jeff Carson has brought it out. We're going to take a quick peek here from Carson. Carson sliding up toward Ron Finning. They go almost 4 wide. Oh!
Captain Clank stretched again, and 35 is going to come in and administer a shot.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I think what happened there was the 71 when he got loose off the top. I think that caused a little bit of a checkup there for Carson, and he had no idea the 3 was going to get a run there on the high side, and just comes up the racetrack. You know, they have a meeting of the minds. It's going to turn him as he goes up into the race, up into the wall here, and here comes innocent bystander as we take a look as go on board as he gets absolutely split. He had to lift. Yeah, Arrow, the big silent killer there in that deal. Screen? Yes, I have completely lost my connection to iRacing, ladies and gentlemen. I greatly apologize, but Dave, the lights are out.
Bear with me here. We are in the middle of a network outage.
I can tell you that Matt DeCiani under caution continues to maintain his position up there at the point. As it looks like the race is still continuing to progress right now, as we're at that halfway mark, 200 laps in out of the scheduled 400.
The network was completely dark for a second. I don't understand that. Whew, thank God we didn't miss any racing.
Well, at least your lights are back on. I'm still waiting for mine to come back. It's like the Super Bowl all over again.
Yeah, and that was that was at the Superdome. This is just with the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth, we'll call it the Thunderdome.
I like it.
I'm going to be checking network stability here because that was disturbing on every level.
We kind of had a little bit of a telltale sign tonight early on that we could have some type of server connection problems with, certain drivers having issues that just never seem to have any problems.
There's Deb Harrison, our YouTube.com live chat. Hey, Deb, good to have you in with us tonight. I know Deb was a longtime fan of the great Tony Trapasso when he sat in this seat.
I hope Deb is doing well. She was actually a part of a lot of our broadcasts together. I remember her quite well.
If I remember correctly, she is a cancer survivor, so glad to have her with us as always. And someone's warning. Deb said that he's warning us about the solar eclipse that's about to happen.
That would be Tony's way of doing it.
He knows how much that drives me nuts. I'm telling you, I have my Tony Trapasso teddy bear right next to me. The first night you and I went back to work together, all of a sudden, he's been sitting here. Nobody touches him. Nobody looks at him. It's just me and him here at the desk. And he fell over. I'm not always one for the ghosts and the so on and the so forth of the paranormal, but Tony was about as paranormal alive as he is in the afterlife.
Afterlife.
And you know what? You can't even get mad at me because he would say the same thing.
Oh, for sure.
Good Lord.
I can't tell you how many times my jaw hung wide open and I thought I was going to be fired. At first.
If you're going to get in trouble, there's two people that you might as well get in trouble with, and it was either Tony or me. I think the two of us could pretty much get away with murder on the air.
Yeah, because remember, SRM was my first gig. Very thankful for the opportunity. I had no idea what was okay and not okay. I thought I had a good idea, but Tony showed me, hey, you can be yourself, have a personality, and you can go outside the box. As we're inside the restart zone once again, DeCiani gets it done. That man knows how to restart. Single file now for the first three cars in line. That's going to be DeCiani, Heitman, and Hodson in the 12. Up 11 spots now, making his way further towards the front in that final podium position. That Apex Designs Camaro really checks out on the field on these restarts as he's just about a half second ahead of Derek Heitman in that 76. See him just coming into the picture there in that Dark Horse Ford Mustang. Caution again now on the racetrack. That is going to be number 10 for incident on the evening. As I believe Michael Witt and Chris Custer may have gotten into it. And I apologize. That's going to be the 8th caution for incident tonight. Pace car right back where it should be. Glad the track's getting its money's worth out of its lease payments.
I was looking here through my old DMs to see if I could find where I was first told that I was going to work with Tony, and I can't. And I was really excited. That would have been good. I know it's here somewhere. I've got all kinds of stuff floating around, but not that one. But basically, former SRM leader James Riles had said to me, hey, listen, we've got this show. It's a late night. It's Western States Racing League. You're going to work it, but Tony's going to be here. He's going to help you out. He's pretty good at what he does. I think you're going to like him. You guys seem to be, of the same mind. See what happens. Tony will guide you through this. Oh, what a great guy. And then I slid in. And it was like, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. Or, right. In the words of Keith Olbermann, when ESPN2, did you ever hear the Olbermann story?
Yes, I have.
Welcome to the end of my career.
Yes, welcome to the end. That's how I felt the first night I worked with him as, very young, first esports broadcasting deal. Really, the longer you do this, there's an evolution you have to go through, kind of find your stride, this, that, and the other. But I was super reserved. I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to keep it super official and, what I thought, should be spoken about in a racing broadcast, being a big racing fan my entire life. And Tony Trapasso just blew the lid right off that thing to the point where I was 5 minutes in and I'm like, I'm fired. I'm done. I'm not coming back from this. This is it. It's over. And that was 5 minutes in.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, Deb, it's people like that where even in the afterlife, he's bringing people here to us. As Deb Harris says, hey, great memory, and thanks, guys. She had to come back and listen to us for a while. She misses watching the race and listening to us. So, I appreciate those kind words. And Now my
do as
heart's
well.
all fuzzy and warm, and now we got to get back to racing, and I just don't know. It is what it is. Here on Sim Racing Media, we want to thank everybody for making us a part of your evening and really making us a part of your family as you welcome us into your homes every week. Whether you're no matter where you are or how you're watching, or whatever Colin Coward says, however you may be watching, however you may be listening. As Matt DeCiani going to lead us back to green once we go underway once again. Derek Heitman going to be in P2, Nolan Hodgson in third, Dylan Banks and Eric Papineau going to round out the top 5. Papineau, as I had mentioned earlier, has been crawling through the ranks here and has clawed his way up into 5th position. He's going to sit on the inside of row 3 when we get back underway. That's an impressively quiet campaign for the evening.
Yep, and that's exactly how he likes to do it. He doesn't want to be on the radar. He doesn't want people talking about him. He likes to be methodical, and that's his MO, and he does it so well in the 17. Just about up 30 spots. I mean, this man started in another county tonight, and yet here he is, almost inside the top 5, 210 laps into this thing. That is an incredible drive by the 17.
Drivers getting antsy on race radio as we come back around to caution once again. So we'll stay under caution for another lap as the iRacing.com pace car lights go out one more time. That does give Brian Tarnowski another opportunity to beat the pace car off of pit road. So he's going to try to keep on the lap down that he is right now, which is about 4. Not the end of the world for Tarnowski. He's quietly, getting that car fixed, getting himself back into contention as DeCiani leads the pack here down the backstretch behind the pace car.
Yep, and that's exactly what Tarnowski was asking for when we spoke to him after that incident he had on the racetrack. Cautions, and he's getting them. Will this trend continue as the pace car pulls off? Another green flag, and another restart won by DeCiani in that 14. This time, only one car at the point is going to break away free. And just as I say that, now the top 2 are single file.
Here they
come. They get that steered quick, fast, and in a hurry, Dave.
Here they come. Dylan Banks right behind Ethan Eckert. He's got an angry Eric Papineau, who once again has been patiently working his way up through here. The 97 wants to push the issue. Wow!
Are you serious?
I think I am.
How did that work? You can't do that.
I just got done watching the Harry Potter series again, and I'm pretty sure that was magic.
I'm lost for words. Are you serious?
Yeah, listen. Of all the drivers that we have out on the track tonight, Papineau has been so patient and just became the benefactor of that. Is now he's up 28 positions, getting his way up toward Paul Hill. Now, Matt DeCiani just laid fast time down at 21.66. But Papineau is working over top of Sean Rogers. And after all of that kerfuffle in and around the 97 of Matt Long, it seems like it just squeezed Papineau up here into 6th.
It did. It was like all that energy just kicked him out of harm's way right up here to the front of this piece. Is suddenly Papineau is in that 7th place position. Well, currently fighting for in-6th, but going back to 7th, it looks like, as Rogers is going to have the advantage on the bottom. Papineau not done yet, though, as Rogers is going to make the case out of it as he's driving hard on the bottom. Papineau trying to match him on the outside. Just cannot match the run out of the 44. He thought about the crossover mover, so check the box. Rogers up to 6th. Papineau's going to slide 1 spot back to 7th, but don't let that take away from a phenomenal night he's having in that 17 machine.
The 97 is back for revenge here just behind Papineau, as Papineau right now running in 7th position. He slid back behind Sean Rogers. But I think for now, as things calm down, we've got about 12 laps to the end of stage 2. We're going to see many of these drivers kind of go single file and see if they have an opportunity, they'll take it. If they don't, they aren't going to push the issue.
As caution number 11 now reigns supreme over the racetrack. Dave, they heard you talking about green flag pit stops soon, and the caution gods gave a gift once again to these drivers tonight. I wasn't sure if he did either. There it is right there. Yeah, it looked like he was trying to, the parting of the Red Seas there, had a line around Chris Claude, try to be maybe a little fancy with it, and didn't anticipate that other race car being there. And around we go. Only takes a little bit of help there in those corners, as we've seen multiple times tonight. And under caution here once again in Richmond, 220 laps out of the scheduled 400 tonight completed. DeCiani and Hodson, they have been lighting it up here as of recent. On the Recovery Revenge Tour, as Dave mentioned, that's going to be Matt Long in that 7th place position, who was very dominant earlier on in this race, but he clearly is on his way back towards the front. There he is, just in front of the 18 of Anderson. Is that Dark Horse Mustang still clearly has some performance left in it tonight. Dave Papineau in that 17 machine, another big part of the story here, since we're talking about drivers that are really excelling.
And unfortunately, Eric Papineau not in Discord, as I was trying to get a hold of him to talk about this charge that he has been on since the time the green flag dropped. I mean, to me, this is impressive. I mean, we've got Timothy Cook, who's up 19 positions after starting in 38th. He's down on pit road right now, coming off as we speak. But 28 positions at a place like this, that's a number that you don't usually see. That's a super speedway plus number.
It really is. And to think that, those trends are here at Richmond, I wouldn't believe it unless I was here to see it. And thank God I am, but this is just absolutely wild, Dave. And that's not the only storyline that's wild, or that's happening. The tire side of the things are absolutely bizarre and wild as well.
Yeah, wild and wonderful is the state motto of West Virginia, but right now I feel like it has just descended upon Richmond. I mean, I always think about the distance from Richmond is a unique town in and of itself. I've been here exactly once, and it was literally to go to a Wawa while I was on I-95. And by the way, it was not at a convenient place. It was the worst Wawa I've ever been to in my life. But I think to myself, all of the battles that raged around here, of course, we're not far away from Manassas Junction, where, of course, the first and second battles of Bull Run was fought. And we're only about 45 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. And, these people that came to this racetrack this weekend to see the race in real life got quite a show. And we're putting on a similar show, where all of these people from all of these different areas are able to get here so easily, because if you've ever been to Richmond Raceway, it's right along the highway. You can't miss it.
Yeah, just literally find Interstate 95, pick it up in the Northeast, just take it due south the whole time, literally. Get off the exit and boom, you're there.
Getting through Baltimore is kind of difficult right now.
That is, or the 495 around D.C. at times. That's 6 lanes of gridlock.
That's enough to drive you to drink. Speaking of Baltimore and getting through there, after that Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse thing happened last week, I finally think I found what could have been the dumbest journalist I've ever seen on earth. They asked a question of Pete Buttigieg, of course, the U.S. Secretary of Transportation. They said, did we determine the cause for the bridge collapse? The big freaking boat. Well, what caused the bridge to fail? The big freaking boat.
A boat.
Why are people surprised that a big freaking boat took down a bridge? I don't understand it. And A tip of the cap to the Baltimore Police Department as they were able to clear the civilians off that bridge. I mean, I realized that there was still a loss of life. There were some construction workers operating, but, a tip of the cap to getting as many of the people off of that bridge as possible, before that tragedy happened earlier this week on that historic bridge.
Right. And, to your point, why people have a hard time or accepting what happened, there's a lot of safety protocols and personnel that are involved on the water with big freight commercial shipping that you wouldn't even know about unless that was your profession or you were an avid boater. But those protections and policies are there for a reason. Unfortunately, we had a very rare break, in all of those different safety contingencies that are in place. And yes, even in 2024, when you have a mega freight liner that weighs, in pounds, what you can't even imagine, hits, concrete, steel, it'll wipe it out in a matter of seconds. And unfortunately, that's the end result.
It threw my brain for, speaking of throwing my brain for a loop, here comes Nolan Hodgson battling it out with Sean Rogers. It threw my brain for a loop. It's like people seem to think that bridge was supposed to withstand, a rocket blast. No, that's, when an army goes in to take over an area, what's the first thing they usually try to blow up? Bridges. So bridges are always going to be vulnerable. And when the journalist asked that of the U.S. Secretary of Labor, I just thought, are you kidding me? Or not labor, transportation. I thought, are you kidding me? It was a big freaking boat. I'm an idiot, and I know that.
I mean, same thing happened similar here in Florida in the 70s, I believe. At night, a boat, similar instance, unfortunately made contact with one of the support booms, one of those going down into the water, and people were driving off the end of the bridge, right into the water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's extremely unfortunate, and you hate to see it, but, bridges are vulnerable, and big shout out to all the crews and all the people that work diligently as we complete now the second stage. Caution back out on the racetrack. So 2 in the books, one final one to go, one more stint, and this is going to be the endurance one if you ask me, Dave. Is Siani going to take that win in stage number 2? Heitman is going to wind up in second, and Hodgson third. Rockin' Rogers, all fours across the board for fourth place. Tip of the hat to Rogers for your pick 3 lottery numbers tonight. Matt Long's going to come home in the 97 machine and round out the top 5. Hill, Popino, Anderson, Pearson, Add, Bad, Chad, Sanner. Round out the top 10 is Pit Road, the hottest commodity in the joint right now.
This is going to be the first time since the conclusion of stage 1 that the entire lead lap, the entirety of the lead lap cars, never mind. Now it looks like Andrew Dyson and Ethan Eckert wanted to make a monkey out of me. But everybody except for 3 drivers is going to come down pit road here, as they were just down on lap 219 and 220 respectively. So, Bobby Anderson here in the 18, Derek Heitman, Paul Hill, all these guys are going to have to try to get back up there and around Andrew Dyson, Ethan Eckert, and Timothy Cook. I'm going to take a quick peek here and see if I can get a hold of Matt DiCiani, driver the number 14. There he is. Hey, Matt, it's Dave and Matt up in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Man, this is a long one tonight. 400 laps, of course. The stages are long. The cautions are becoming grueling. How are things feeling there for the Apex Designs Chevrolet?
Yeah, pretty good. Just keep track position, really. But yeah, I would like to see this go green, but hopefully, I don't know. It's hard to stay focused when we keep getting these yellows, so yeah.
Yeah, Metler, you were talking about that earlier about, being able to keep your focus when we came back from a caution and immediately went back on caution. How does that, affect you, the driver, when, you've got yourself all psyched out, here we go, let's rock and roll, and then all of a sudden you've got to get back on the brakes and behind the pace car?
I mean, it's fine. It's just, it gets kind of annoying and you start wandering. But yeah, I mean, you just got to know to refocus.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the green and white checkered flag here for stage 2. Maybe you can do us a favor and show up there on the podium for stage 3.
All right, guys. Sounds good. I'll try.
All All right, man. We're going to send him back on up here into the TCSP E10 Esports stable with Randy Belk and Derek Heitman. Matt, we are finally here at the beginning of Stage 3. What are you thinking that we're going to start to see, as things develop here in the final stage? Mettler, that was for you. And I lost Matt Mettler. That's good. Stage 3 begins, and I lose my partner. Andrew Dyson going to be atop the pile. He'll be followed by Ethan Eckert, Timothy Cook, Derek Heitman, and Matt DiCiani. Now, Heitman here in the 76, he came down for pit service, so I expect to see a lot of grip in some of these tires, try to get around Dyson, Eckert, and Cook. But I think if there's anybody who's going to be tough to go and run around, it's going to be Eckert. He's been a tough driver all night long, and he's really done a great job trying to keep it, between the lines, so to speak. As we see each of these drivers get themselves lined back up tonight, the iRacing.com pace car here on lap 236. This is it, folks, all the way here to lap number 400. So about 140 laps to the end. Once we go back green flag racing, maybe a little bit more, which, we should start to see those laps tick off in short order, as right now we're here at about 2 hours of actual race time. That's pretty good for a race of this length. And you got to keep in mind that these drivers don't have a fast repair, which means that, when they come in for repairs, they really have to wait. So that means that 19 and 20 of these drivers have basically kept it fairly clean for most of the night, which means the other half of the field, not so much. But, nothing egregious out here on the racetrack to be damaging these cars.
Well, that'll certainly do it. As a rare bobble at the front as Heitman somehow made contact with the 11. There was a big checkup there. That could have been ugly, especially if that was under green flag conditions. But now lights out on the pace car. One more stage left here to determine the winner here in Richmond. 40 going to get up close and personal with Eckert on this restart. Now in the Geico restart zone, and he's going to stand on it, and here come the V8s roaring back to life once again. Dyson gets a great jump there. You see Eckert now in that high lane, going to start to come up and run down the 40. Gets a good run into the corner from Eckert's position, but the 40 really good center off.
Eckert trying to get a better exit right now, and it just seems like he can't do it as well as the 40. The 40 gets that thing to rotate, and right here is where, in fact, we're going to hop right onto his hood as well. We see Andrew Dyson from Melbourne, and he gets a great rotation right here. He gets back on the throttle. He's able to basically coast that entire segment of the racetrack. That allows those tires to cool down substantially for that car, as right now he leads Derek Heitman by about 0.4 of a second. Ethan Eckert just behind Heitman. So right now you can throw a blanket over that top three as Sean Rogers is side by side with Matt DiCiani.
Sean Rogers has worked relentlessly this race, like he does most races, fighting hard right inside the top 5 or just outside of it. He has been committed to that high liner, that second lane, virtually all race long, as he is in the trenches, modern warfare style here, going up against the 14 of DiCiani. Camaro on Camaro action under the lights, David. Doesn't get any better than that. As the 14's going to clear, he's going to slot into that 5th place position now.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Matt DiCiani takes that 5th position. They go single file. This is where we're going to see a lot of these drivers start to make their...
Whoa!
The 09 of Timothy Cook almost washed up into Chris Davis. Right now that whole top 10 is all single file. They haven't decided who's it going to be in 11th position yet, as right now 11th position belongs to Eric Papineau. But as they go further up here, we're starting to see a single file formation come about. Right now the 58 of Neil Pearson trying to battle it out with Seba Cornez in the 59. And Seba, one of the longtime veterans here in the SNN Cup Series, is not going to give that position away easily. He does not drive defensively. He drives offensively for sure, as he rolls out of turn number 2. A little bit of a wheel rub from the 09 of Timothy Cook as we go into 3.
Yeah, Cook has got to be careful right now. That car is off right now, and he is about to ignite a hot dumpster fire if this action keeps up, because that's twice now within just a handful of laps. And there it is! 2 cars, they go Captain Cog. Oh my goodness! Another big shot administered.
Well,
I hate the
there it is.
broadcaster's curse is real.
From your mouth to God's ears, there it is. We're going to watch Seba Cornez here in the 59. All of a sudden, the 94 and the 23 make some kind of contact. And just as I go here to the replay of the 23, that Sean Kelly, we're going to go right on the nose here and see him basically run into the back of the 09.
Yeah, it is not okay to three-way here at Richmond. It just does not work.
Yeah, Sean Kelly can't be very happy with that performance. Eric Papineau coming down pit road. I'm not sure if he was affected by that or if he's just going to come down for pit service. We'll take a look now as, yep, he's just going to come down for scheduled pit service on the 17. And Chris Claude, your lucky dog, going to get his lap back and finally be on the lead lap once again. So, the 10 car going to be a factor here as he makes his way around the pace car. In fact, we're going to get a chance to talk to Chris right now. Since we haven't heard from him in a little bit, is the voice of the great Chris Claude, chief cook and bottle washer in the SNN Cup Series. Hey, Chris, it's Dave and Matt. You got us?
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing good. You've really had to battle your way up here to get the lucky dog position and then, have everything fall just your way. How does it feel to be back on the lead lap?
It feels great. I would rather not see more cautions, but in this case, it definitely felt at the right time, and I knew I had to stay in front of Mike to get it, and luckily it came out before I had to worry about having to fight him for the lucky dog.
Yeah, you and I have talked about it so many times in race radio where, hey, listen, I'm here, I'm in that position. Let me get a quick caution before I've got to fight anybody off. And now it puts you to the end of the longest line. So it gives you a lot of breathing room. Another quick caution, and you can be up there battling for 15th position with Dylan Banks. How does the 10 car feel tonight, and what kind of tire saving are you having to do there?
I think it's always valuable to save time. I think I've probably saved more than what I needed to in some of the earlier runs just because of some of the practices that I had. I was using up too much, and so probably being a little bit too conservative. But now that we're further along and I can tell that I'm not abusing the tires, I can probably push it a little bit more. And now that I'm on the lucky dog, I can actually make some positions up.
Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating than, not being the lucky dog, being down laps, and you're just kind of waiting for enough cautions to fall your direction. But, it's 13 cautions on the night total, 11 for cause, which is, not necessarily heard of here in the SNN Cup Series. I know it's usually a very clean league. But, if people still want to join this league, how can they get a hold of you on iRacing?
Well, you can always go to SimRacer Hub and look for the Sunday Night NASCAR League. It's simracerhub.com. That's probably the easiest way. It has our Discord link, and from there they can join up and just let me know which series that they want to run in, and we will do our best to accommodate them. We don't have many open numbers, so it's first come, first serve right now. But we do have openings from time to time as people move on, and we bring in new members to race with.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way as everybody gets ready to go double file. And, hey, listen, maybe we'll see you start climbing higher here in the standings.
I hope so.
That, of course, the voice of the great Chris Claude, driver of the number 10 Monster Energy Toyota Camry. It's still hard for me to say Monster Energy and not Dasani, as that was his normal paint scheme the last couple of years, Matt. But, seeing somebody like Chris play that patience game and watching that patience game play out finally to someone's benefit is incredible.
Well, this is vintage Chris Claude. That's what he does, and I'll get back into that in a moment. But the first thing I learned about Chris is those lights go out on the pace car. I don't worry where he is at the start of the race. I mean, he always seems to find himself down early or behind the 8 ball and late in the race back on the lead lap and is able to pull top 10s like Houdini. I mean, it's incredible how he is able just to rebound, not lose focus, and keep his composure. I mean, that's really who Chris Claude's calling cards are as a race car driver. Is Heitman now back to the point? Let's do another restart here in Richmond. Wonderfully executed there by the 76. He's going to maintain the lead, and he has a hot Dyson in the 40, just working off of his rear bumper. As we're single file now through the top 3, that third place car is going to be Eckert. Side-by-side action, hot and heavy. Smothered and covered like your Waffle House hash browns is going to be the 14 of DeCiani and the 12 of Hodgson.
Nolan Hodgson working the high side of DeCiani as DeCiani now slides on past to secure away 4th position from Hodgson, but they aren't through just yet here on Sim Racing Media as we've got 147 laps to go now as the math didn't want to math it, more meth than anything. But taking a look back here at Neil Pearson with the 0-0 of Kavaja Holt over top of him. Kavaja isn't done yet. He's had some unfortunate mishaps here on the racetrack tonight, but he's not willing to give up early, that's for sure, as he and Pearson are going to do battle. Right now it looks like on turn exit out of 4, that Hyundai Ford Mustang.
What?
See, that's another one. Well, it says Hyundai on the hood. It's very confusing. It'll throw you off. But all of a sudden he's starting to give spots away like it's a free-for-all to Pearson and now Anderson.
You know, and his goose was got defeathered here early in this race, right off the get. So he's really had to get up on the wheel to make things happen in the 0-0. Yeah, great recovery drive, if you ask me. And like you said, longtime veteran of the series, and all those are all the attributes that you expect to see from these veterans. They're just so good. It's not over until it's over. You can never count one of those guys out. Hodgson still continues to have a great run here going tonight, just outside of that 5th place position, currently in 6th. And ladies and gentlemen, while we're back under green flag action, single file here from Richmond, we're going to step away one more time, go side by side. Don't go anywhere. You're not going to miss any of the action. And we'll be right back momentarily, live on SRM.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Musker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife were sitting there watching the movie. And he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive, you know, what was gonna happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. and she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out, also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, telling me to be thankful, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where the Stacy Strong Cup Series here on Sunday Night NASCAR is working lap 278 of 400. As we just had a caution while we were at commercial, now Steve Herring brings one out. As we don't even get to bring out the timing tower just yet, we'll take a look here at Herring in the 3, that blue and white. Whoa, never mind. That was the 89 of Steve Herring. I was thinking Ron Fitting for some reason. We'll take another look at it. Steve Herring here in that purple monster machine just underneath the 35. Now the 35, that's Tyler Sexton, came down off the wall. And I'll tell you what, that's a rough one, Matt.
Yeah, it looked like he got loose up there and just did the tail whip, and unfortunately cracked it right into the 89 off the top there. You can see that he just, like a dragon you see in sci-fi movies, just smacks the bejesus there out of Stephen Herring, and around he went, as that's going to cause or produce yet another caution here tonight. Go back to the SRM replay once again. That did not take a lot of time for that to unfold, as Herring now is going to have to take that ZL1 Camaro to pit road for service.
Yep, we're going to take a quick peek here. We can see them making contact. Oh, sending Herring just into that non-safer barrier, that retaining wall.
Took it from both ends.
Yeah, and not the kind of retaining wall that usually has flower pots and things in it.
No, not flower pots or baked goods. This is all about, making objects traveling at high speeds stop. And you can see the destruction that it unleashed on his race car. That was worse than I initially thought.
120 to go here at Richmond, as Andrew Dyson going to be credited with our lead right now. He's going to have Matt DiCiani on his outside when we rack, stack, and do it all over again as we come back from commercial break. We want to thank all of you for joining us in the youtube.com live chat. We are just south of 300 viewers for the night, so folks, go ahead and call a friend, get us a couple more viewers. Let's get to 300 for the evening. Deb Harris cheering on Derek Heitman, the Allen Experience checking in, saying bent sheet metal and hurt feelings. Matt's bad jokes, love you, Matt, but you're still not getting Allen's Bud Light.
I'm still not getting his Bud Light, huh?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, he can keep that trash.
Is that the Allen I'm thinking of?
Yep, sure is.
Here, I got another bad joke for you. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, quite frankly, anybody who drinks Bud Light should probably be taken to Siberia and left there in the wintertime.
I haven't, I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a beer in so long, I forget even what beer tastes like, to be quite honest. But
I can help you out there. Beer tastes like heaven.
Oh, I'm not saying beer is not good. It's, quoting Psycho Stick here, the song "Beer is Good." If you haven't checked that out, go to YouTube, give it a play. That is one of the OG jams, if you ask me. I just haven't had the opportunity of just, life, always on the go 24/7. I rarely have the opportunity even to think about, getting a PBR or give me a craft beer. Give me something not out of the ordinary.
Let me just tell you, of course, as you know, I come from the rolling hills of Pennsylvania, where we celebrate Yuengling as America's oldest brewery, founded in 1829 by David Yuengling, originally as the Eagle Brewery, and it is delicious. Of course, and you can get it down there in Florida as their second brewery was opened down in Tampa, and something bad is going on as I hear race radio just the side of exploding.
Yeah, I was gonna. Well, since you brought that to everyone's attention, it is like a breakdown in society on the race radio. And Dave, that can only allude to one more thing, and that is increasing the chances of cautions the rest of the way, because when the drivers get hot and bothered, usually the cautions tend to trend on the upward side of things.
Here we are on caution number 15 now. We'll really be on caution 13, as two of those were, of course, for stage breaks. Now, as we come out of turn 4, Andrew Dyson is going to hit the loud pedal and bring us back into action here as he crosses the start-finish line. Dyson going to bring along DiCiani. Now, 15 cautions in the books. Will we see 20?
There's a good chance. I think that's highly likely, especially listening into the radio chatter just before we went back to the green flag side of things. I'll tell you what, Andrew Dyson in that 40 car, it seems like ever since that Camaro got a taste of that clean air, that car has been a different beast out here on the racetrack as he's picked it up. I mean, his times have picked up. He's consistently in the low 22 second bracket, if not better. Before he got that track position, he was having a hard time running, a 22.5, and just that time by a 21.77 for that 40 machine. Chris Claude's sending it on the high side. He said he had to get a little more aggressive. Beautiful move there by the driver of the monster number 10 Toyota Camry. Like their marketing slogan says, let's go places. That's exactly what he's doing. 10 coming up to the front as he has now cracked the top 10.
And you know what? That puts you, first of all, a broadcaster can either look like he knows what he's talking about or he has no clue what he's watching. And, here you are watching Chris Claude. We saw him get his lucky dog, lap back. And we even said, you even said, I should say, that, earlier on in the race, you might see him buried back there, but he's not, he's strategizing that whole time. And now that patience is paying off as he's up here in the top 10. Now, it looks like Paul Hill wants to throw the hairnet on and serve Chris his lunch. But, as he works here underneath of Claude all the way up now into 11th position after being a lap down just, a handful ago.
Yeah, he just lost a couple spots right there. But, the takeaway from here is, look what happened. Look at the adversity this man was faced with earlier on in this race. Multiple laps down. Now he's back here on the lead lap and running just outside the top 12 during a race that has been chaotic. It has been absolutely stifling out there on the racetrack at times for these drivers. Chaos around every bend, and yet here it looks like that car is showroom brand new. Almost 300 laps in to this race tonight. You just don't see drivers be able to execute like this week in and week out. But this, just happens to fall right into his wheelhouse. It's his specialty, and he's done this time and time again. And especially as the late great Tony Trepasso and I spent all those Sunday nights in the booth last year together. Here's another hot gaggle of cars right here. Oh, the 6 comes up, yanks the chain on the 88. You start using that chrome horn, you got to be able, you got to remember the other side of that, and that means do unto others as they do unto you. I wouldn't be surprised if that 88 didn't return the favor at some point in time tonight, as the 6 of Hill all over the back of Witt.
And, Ethan Eckert here just kind of looking from behind, watching Paul Hill now get around the 88. And we can even see a little bump in here on Ethan Eckert's hood. These cars now starting to get so comfortable for these drivers at this stage in the race that they're able to, quote-unquote, bump draft their way here on lap 294, which, is something that we never, ever see. Of course, it's not really drafting, on a short track, but it's still interesting to watch them use the chrome horn, beat their way up through here because, at this kind of a racetrack, rubbin is racing.
Rubbin is racing. Got a little bit of bump to pass going on here tonight. There's Eckert right on cue as he comes up and rings the doorbell on the 88. And Tony and I would actually call that pug face on the front of the 11, how it's kicked in. And caution on the racetrack for now, the 14th time for incident, 16 total this evening here from Richmond, Virginia. What in the world? Oh, no, Tarnowski, he's going to get his back end lifted up into the air. He immediately toes to pit road. And the 50 was on a ride from the Carnival of Carnage there, and unfortunately...
It looks like Tarnowski got loose, and then about the same time he got loose, we're going to watch this in slow-mo for sure, because... something weird happened with Tarnowski. We'll have to take a peek here. Maybe from Randy Belk's perspective. There's Tarnowski going dirt track style. Here comes Belk behind him.
Belk is going to get out of shape, trying to anticipate the what he's going to have to do defensively to counter for the 28, and because of it, he puts his race car in the wall. I've seen this happen a lot earlier this week in other leagues, a very similar situation. And unfortunately, Tarnowski has some more work to do on his Camaro now late. 50 also involved there. Luckily, more cars weren't, as that could have been the case. iRacing.com pace car out in front of this field once again tonight. Matt DeCiani continues to lead over Sean Rogers in the 44. Pearson, a little later to the party than usual, but nonetheless has arrived in that 58 machine. He resides in third. Hodson continues to roll in fourth. Running at the top 5 is Matt Long. Hill, Kelly, Eckert, Holt, and Davis round out the top 10 as they run right now on the cusp of lap 300.
And I don't see anybody having come down pit road this time around, with the exception of Michael Witt, Derek Heitman, and Timothy Cook. But take a look at these cars, in front of this race right now. DeCiani and Rogers each came down on lap 267, as well as Neil Pearson. With 31 laps under their belt, that's if the other sections of this race are any indicator, that's break-in point for these tires. That's, these are baby tires yet for a lot of these guys.
I still can't believe that we're saying that about tires with 51, 109, laps on them. But that has been the storyline tonight. Has been the insanely good tire wear these guys have been experiencing. Tony would have called them hockey pucks, but they're kind of wearing like bowling balls out there. There's just no giving these tires, it seems.
No, in fact, Sean Kelly is registering having the longest run on a pit road on a pit run at 232. I have to believe that SDK timing and scoring is wrong.
It can't be.
It can't be right.
I don't know how it can't. I mean, I guess never say never, but
that's
I don't know.
Incredible if it happened.
That's a miracle if it happened. I mean, I don't know how you get 121 laps, but double,
that's almost impossible. Ethan
maybe
Eckert
we can.
Is our actually no, I lie. It's Chris Davis here, running in 10th position right now. He had the longest run on a set of tires tonight at 122 laps, and that was his second set of tires. Now, Sean Kelly came after 232 reportedly, but I'm fairly certain, to use a maybe not so friendly term, that is fake news. It has to be.
You never want to just call that right off the rip like that, but for all intent, that stat cannot be right. All the connection issues we've had this evening, I have to imagine that timing and scoring ingested an error due to that going on throughout much of the race this evening. Mentioned there, Chris Davis from Beast Mode Performance. Not surprised that he's got the most laps on a single set of tires there tonight.
And don't look now, but we are 100 to go. Actually, we are now 99 to go here as we come into turn number 1. So, we're finally in the twilight of this race. And, really you could break this race down into 4 stops if you really tried to, especially seeing some of the tire wear and the things that we've seen tonight as the iRacing.com pace car brings us into turn number 3. I mean, a lot of these drivers have figured out incredible ways to save tires tonight. And, maybe this is just kind of an omen for what we're going to see at similar tracks on the service this season. As the man in the stand has the green flag in his hand, it waves, and we are back underway as Matt DeCiani gets a crazy jump over Sean Rogers and Neil Pearson. Pearson here working just underneath Rogers, and Rogers here trying to hold his own over top of Pearson, and it looks like this is going to be quite a battle for second.
Oh, yeah, this is all-out trench warfare here right now. Rogers on the outside, Pearson on the bottom. Just inches apart there on corner entry. As we see now, Rogers really starting to turn down, applying the pressure there to Pearson. He's going to come up the racetrack a little bit. They're still side by side. No one has a clear advantage into the corner. Now, they still don't have it sorted. Now, Rogers gets a great exit. He's going to clear. Does he bait him into the corner? He does. As those two guys get it sorted, and thank God, because that was allowing everyone else behind him to get right up there on the back of that battle. As Rogers now clicks his way to second. Neil Pearson now resides in third. Hodson and Matt Long. Dave, look where Matt Long is in the 97. He is now up to fifth.
Yeah, running in fifth is Matt Long here, and currently trying to get his way up to Nolan Hodgson in the 12. Matt Long in the 97 has done a great job all night long of keeping that plus column healthy. And speaking of other drivers keeping it healthy, biggest mover of the night still Eric Papineau, but now currently knotted up with Timothy Cook for big mover of the night, as we have our ticker now running across the top of your screen.
Did I just see 4 wide?
You just did. Yep. Yep. Here we are in the twilight of this race, and all hell ready to break loose.
But here I am earlier having a nuclear breakdown because what they were able to do with 3 wide, and they just executed 4 wide somehow. Just when you think you've seen it all,
well,
never-
they say that about all kinds of sports. I mean, it's why, as a nerd, there I am taking my scorebook with me to the ballpark, because you never know what you're going to see when you come to the racetrack. You never know what you're going to see when you go to the ballpark.
You're never going to know how these races are going to shake out in the Stacy Strong Cup Series. Even if you swear this race is over. We have seen it so many times, Dave. Just the unpredictability and the insane high-octane winning fashion these guys are all capable and famous for. We're probably going to witness another one here shortly, as we're now 310 laps written into the history books of the 400 scheduled tonight. Really tight, close quarters, single file racing here. Matt Long continues his recovery drive back to the front, trying to recover and restore his early run greatness, which feels like years ago now, as that was earlier on in the race. Paul Hill still working in that 6th place position just outside the top 5. No, go for it, man. It's all you, bud.
Paul Hill holding his own ahead of Andrew Dyson. And I'll tell you what, Dyson is really kind of like his namesake vacuum cleaner, sucking up through the field, and all of a sudden running in 7th position as he was just down a few minutes ago. Now, basically at this point, just almost an even 10th of a second behind Hill is Dyson. And Dyson looking here from the rear. We're going to take a quick peek from his nose right now, as these drivers have basically gone single file. This is what we've wanted to see all night long. Single file racing. Pick each driver off one at a time as they nearly draw into one another. Dyson looking to get a run. Now he knows how he can get around Paul Hill, as Paul Hill not as good on turn 1 entry and not as good on turn 4 exit. So if Dyson can get himself, nearly making contact, if Dyson can get himself knifed in just underneath Hill, this could be a battle for the ages here for 6th position.
Yeah, it certainly can be, as they're giving it every attempt right now, as they're still side by side. Don't have it sorted. Is it going to be the Camaro on the bottom, the Ford Mustang on the top, as Eckert high-fives the wall just behind him? Still side by side once again. The 40 now, Dyson's going to clear that position. That's going to leave him all by himself for that 6th place position momentarily. Now working lap 316, coming off the bottom once again. Hard back on the throttle pedal. Still no change there for Dyson. I thought maybe he was going to try and sneak to the inside there of Matt Long, but he hesitates and waits another lap. Single file here. This all 4th, 5th, we'll say 4th through 8th place position right now.
Gail Ream in our YouTube.com live chat cheering on Nolan Hodgson in the 12. We'll take a look at him as he's right there just ahead of the 97 of Long. And Beamer Boy 124 literally was just at the real race and now is looking for the live stream and found this. So obviously we know how we're getting some of our viewers tonight. He says that it's good racing, though. Hey, listen, Beamer Boy, stick right here. This is better racing than what you saw in real life today, as especially at this stage with just about 83 to go. I mean, we're going to see the heat turned up, and this is going to be better than what we saw in real life today, as Nolan Hodgson, that Gail Ream is cheering on, is just ahead of Andrew Dyson, and Dyson getting ready to throw the hairnet on and serve lunch to Nolan Hodgson.
And here it comes, hard, fast, and in a fury as Dyson sends it on the bottom. Look at him, he makes that Camaro stick and rotate through the corner, gets a great exit off, but Hodgson matches it. Is it still a side-by-side affair going into the 3 and 4 complex now? Yeah, gain a position by default. Hey, in fact, you take a position anyway. You can get it out there under green flag conditions, and that's exactly what Derek Heitman is doing right now. Once again, as he's just got back into the top 5. Next car in is crosshairs. It's going to be the 40 of Andrew Dyson, who has been absolutely electric here, especially during the later part of this race. Has led a ton of laps, but now finds himself in that 4th place position, under duress from the 76 of Heitman, who lurks just about a car length and a half back of the 40.
Ethan Eckert doing battle right now with Kavaja Holt. These two drivers both very hungry as Kavaja just pulls down here against the grass on the front stretch to give himself some breathing room. He swings back up just in front of Eric Papineau and now allows Papineau more real estate on the high side, nearly pinching him against the wall, but they still fight it out going down the backstretch into 3. That's going to allow Kavaja to start to draw into the rear bumper of Ethan Eckert as Eckert gets a great run out of turn 4 to gap Kavaja just a little bit alongside of Eric Papineau in the Meineke 17.
Meineke 17 is going to get a run there, and it now just about clears and does the dark horse Ford Mustang of Kavaja Holt. The 17 really rotating, carrying good speed through the center of the corner as he sets up now a potential pass on that AutoZone sponsored Mustang being piloted by one and only Ethan Eckert tonight.
Matt DiCiani, meanwhile, is up here kind of quiet. He's got Sean Rogers about 0.8 of a second behind him, while Matt Long is now side by side with Nolan Hodgson. They go door handle to door handle going into turn 1, and there's enough space between them that they can make the pass, regardless of where they're at on the racetrack. These drivers giving each other plenty of room tonight. That allows for some great side by side action here at Richmond, as this racetrack more often than not can breed the disasters that we've seen tonight. Matt DiCiani leads Sean Rogers and Andrew Dyson. Right now, they would be your podium if the checkered flag flew. Derek Heitman in 4th and Neil Pearson making up your top 5.
Matt Long, Nolan Hodgson, Paul Hill, Eric Papineau, and Ethan Eckert round out the top 10 as they run right now. Looking for the biggest mover of the race. No change there. Still continues to be Papineau in that 9th place position. Dave, this man's not up 12 spots, not 22, 25 positions for Papineau on a racetrack that's been absolutely treacherous at times, has found a way to thread the needle and carry that car all the way to the top 10 as he's now in 9th.
Yeah, Papineau able to crawl up those 25 positions, and he's done so pretty quietly. He's not having a night like Chris Davis is here in the 74, who's currently trying to battle it out with Ethan Eckert. At this stage in the race, Papineau has just been very quiet, very methodical about getting through here. Meanwhile, wow, that was a close call if I ever saw one. In fact, they might want to check the fire suit on Chris Davis.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's definitely the don't stain your ride, use tide moment of the race, because that was woulda, coulda, shoulda, and then off the corner that time, Chris Davis was doing the jig there, a little bit loose in that Toyota.
Lap 332, now 332 of 400 here at Richmond Raceway. We're going to take one final break here and bring you all of the action. Oh, a little bump action here from Davis into Eckert. We're going to step aside right now while these drivers sort this out and work it out amongst themselves, so to speak, one final time for the evening. I'm Dave Riegel. He's Matt Metler. This is the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. And we want to thank you for tuning in tonight here on the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second spot, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
No back into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler, or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Let's get caught defend. He's got the outside line for the second spot, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around, we're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive. You know, what was going to happen with my wife, my kids. And, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually, they gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out. Also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where we're on caution number 17 of the night. Dave Riegel and Matt Metler with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth 15 cautions for cause, Matt, as we see the iRacing.com pace car lights go out as we come back from our final break of the evening. I know some of you not happy with the length of our commercial breaks, but we have sponsorship obligations, so I'm sorry. It's just the way that it is.
It was all a part of paying those bills, and hey, those partners help bring this coverage to you guys, and it's nothing like you've seen on Fox, that's for certain. As now about 360 laps here in the books, Dave. Scheduled distance 400 here tonight. So we are getting down to the knit and grit. That pace car pulls off in the Geico restart zone. Dyson, he does the dance on the restart, and he is gone. Side by side for second. Look at Matt Long. He is just about completed his recovery drive back to the front. That Dark Horse Mustang now charging hard on the outside. But he's got another pony working on the bottom, trying to match that performance, and that is the 70 of Banks. Eckert just in front of them, single car currently in the zone window of safety, if you will, between that heavy battling going on just in front and behind him. They still don't have it sorted. Banks still there fighting on the bottom. Now Eckert's going to get a good run off the
behind
corner.
her, the 23. Sean Kelly comes across the racetrack. We stay green. We're still green. Oh, never mind. Here we go. Caution as the 50 gets turned around. Yes, we should absolutely have commercials all the time to kill some of this time in between, as we are now on caution number 18. Genius idea. We should just stay in babble.
Caution number 18. Well, subtract 2 from that, because that's really what's for incident, as that 18 also takes into account the stage breaks as well tonight. iRacing.com pace car getting its money's worth tonight. As Dave mentioned, the 50 there, not the first incident he's been caught up here, and much like the first one, he found himself facing the wrong way in traffic, parked up on the top side of that safer barrier, Dave.
Yeah, taking a look here at Randy Belk in the 50. The wreck happens in front of him. Randy Belk goes to get on the binders and, gets punted by Sean Rogers in the 44. As Rogers didn't, it was kind of like an ARCA brake situation, I guess you could say. We're going to take a ride along with Rogers for this one, because I know that it wasn't intentional, but, Belk got on the binders, Rogers didn't, and bad things happened.
Well, that's typically what happens, especially, at a house at a place like Richmond. As we go on board here, look out the front nose. You see that side-by-side action there from Sean Rogers. He has no idea the incident happened, and the next thing you know, he gets a line of sight, and it's full of Camaro. He had no idea it was coming. He didn't even have a chance to react, Dave. He was in it before he could do anything.
No, we're going to ride along with Rogers. He saw the 23 coming up the racetrack, and I guess thought that in his mind, and I'm just taking a guess here inside the mind of Kalamazoo's very own Sean Rogers, but in his mind, he thought, okay, I'm going to go high, because he was guessing that the 23 was going to ricochet back down the racetrack. He wasn't planning for, Randy Belk to lock him up the way he did.
That is certainly a scenario, and quite could be, exactly what he was thinking. The other side of me, I think he was in that tunnel vision zone that sometimes you can get as a race car driver, especially when you're getting down to the wire, when you're just hyper focused on that car in front of you, and you're racing him hard, trying to figure out how you can set him up or get that pass. Sometimes you lose that depth perception or that greater field of vision that you have when you're trying to spot trouble in front of you. I think that also may have played a little bit of a factor there too as well, as we just went on board there. Very unfortunate, but both cars should continue to compete. I don't think any of that damage was enough to knock them out of the race. as Dyson in the 40s continues to lead here from Richmond. We have to slow things back down once again.
Yeah, we had trouble. That starts with T and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Right here in River City as Andrew Dyson leads us back around the racetrack one last time here as the iRacing.com pace car comes across the start-finish line. The lights finally turn out, which means that we'll be getting ready to turn them loose once again here on lap number 367. 34 to go. We want to thank everybody for making us a part of your evening here on Sim Racing Media. A lot of interaction here in the YouTube.com live chat. Of course, Deb Harris joining us once again, one of our longtime viewers. We want to thank her for tuning in. Gail Ream cheering on Nolan Hodgson. Beamer Boy stumbled across us by accident. We'd much prefer if you'd hang out here, as we can tell you what's going on in the real race if you'd like, so that you hang out with us here. That's okay, too. I'll make you that deal.
Hey, just the fact that Beamer Boy wound up here tells us we're doing all the right things in the strategies and then the marketing department. So that's good to know that those efforts are paying off.
There was a period where we had problems on Sunday Night NASCAR because of when the real-life race was going on and when our race was going on. And it was causing copyright issues on YouTube because we were that close to real.
Right, that close, but not infringement. And we got that sorted and taken care of. But hey, you know, when you're putting on racing like this, it's a simulation, it's not real life, but it looks this good, and the drivers are as good as these guys are, it's bound to happen. But tonight, once again, Dave, you're right. Reminds me of, last year at times, as that pace car pulls off one more time. Reloaded, re-racked, restacked, green flag back in the air. And Dyson is checking out once again.
Matt Campbell cheering on Davis and Rogers. And I'll tell you what, if anybody's got a chance to make a charge here, it's going to be Chris Davis in the 74. And, of course, Rogers just wrapped up in that last incident. So right now, Chris Davis in the 74 being cheered on in our YouTube.com live chat. They go 3 wide and get it sorted out in short order as all of a sudden the 70 of Dylan Banks ahead of Heitman and Davis. We were just talking about Chris Davis here in the 70. Whoa!
Uh-oh!
That's the 11 of Ethan Eckert, pointed the wrong direction here on caution number 19.
Yep, the AutoZone car got absolutely decked there. He has some help.
No.
That's going to set off a big, shouldn't say a big one. As we go on board here, watch what's going to pop off here. Ethan Eckert just got slapped from the high side. That's going to knock him down the racetrack. More contact is made, and he's going to come to a stop, facing in the wrong direction. Go to the eye in the sky.
Here it comes. Actually, he gets slapped by Papineau on the high side, and as he spins helplessly down the backstretch, Chris Claude registered as having, not bad, but Chris Claude just got an 8X in one blink of an eye.
Well, yeah, he literally got hit virtually from all sides at once, as he unfortunately got caught in the right place at the wrong time. And yet that number 10 Monster Energy machine still rolls on. Doesn't look like he has any broken suspension components, or as Tony would say, Bluetooth suspension. Pit road action picking up a little bit, and there is the 10 of the HMFIC of the league, Chris Claude. I don't know how he does it, Dave. That car was just in.
I know Chris isn't a gambler, but if I was him, I would be by now.
That's what I'm saying. And he does this frequently. This isn't like, a fluke thing.
No, Chris Claude is extremely good at being in the right place at the right time, and it pays off once again as he rolls on down pit road. And Matt Campbell giving us an oof in the live chat, which of course is expected at this point. Andrew Dyson going to be our leader when we restart here in just a few moments. Lap 373 of 400. It looks like we're going to rumble, stumble, fumble, get our way to the checkered flag tonight as we're on caution number 19. That's 17 cautions for cause. Wow.
Yep. Well, we definitely trended up in the in that department. Here is the yellow lollipops, the yellow flags, caution flags, whatever you want to call it, have certainly been more than expected here tonight. But Dave, that just goes to show you a lot on the line at these racetracks, especially as the points battle continues to heats up. Excuse me. Look who's right in that second position. Matty Long.
Matt Long here in the 97. We're going to pull up him right now as we look at him from Atlanta, Georgia. He's got a windshield full of Andrew Dyson and a rearview mirror full of Nolan Hodgson. He is right in the thick of it, if you will, as the TikTok song goes. Eric Papineau running in fourth, Dylan Banks in fifth, Matt DiCiani in sixth, Paul Hill in seventh, Michael Wick, Chris Claude, and Timothy Cook round out your top 10. But Matt Long is probably in the best position all night long to hop up here and try to grab the lead away from Andrew Dyson as he has battled his way from seventh position where he qualified up here into second.
Yeah, and don't forget, Dave, he led a lot of this race at one point in time. He was the car to beat. Then I think he had some trouble there with that one pit stop. He got mired back in traffic, and yet here he is once again. Could he perhaps try to jump up and steal one here from Dyson? Or does Hodgson, Papineau, Banks, DiCiani, and company have other plans? You have to stick with us right here on SRM to find out as those lights are out on the pace car. There he goes. And here we go into the Geico restart zone. Deja vu. Dyson takes the green and another beautiful restart from the 40. Let's see if Long here can clear the 12. Not the case. They are dead even through the center corner off. Now here comes Matt Long with a good run on the high side of the racetrack. The 12's going to send it in on the bottom. They still don't have it sorted. Coming out of 4 at the line. Give Long the position. But Hodgson still going to contend and contest for that as he gets a great corner entry. They almost made contact, Dave.
The 97 going to come out the victor for the time being, but Papineau, Hodgson, and Banks are all still battling it out here. All of a sudden, Matt DiCiani starting to get in here and find a dance partner to grab here at Richmond Raceway. Lap 378 of 400 tonight as Eric Papineau up 30 positions now, making it 31 as he's trying to climb along the right side of Nolan Hodgson, and Hodgson not ready to give up that position just yet in third. But I'll tell you what, if anybody deserves to make it onto the podium, it's going to be Papineau for battling his way up here through the racetrack as much as he has tonight.
Without question, that's 17. Give him all the awards tonight. I don't even care if he wins the race for the drive that this guy has put on. It's incredible to watch, how these drivers in this series continue to find ways to just up the ante and do the unthinkable side by side there with Hodgson. I can't believe this is going to be for third place.
Wow. All of a sudden they have to get around Timothy Cook in the 09. Cook pulls out of the way as he just dumped himself up to the high side to stay away from the line of fire. He goes down a lap and becomes the lucky dog. Nolan Hodgson pounces on that opportunity, but it's only for a moment as Papineau now gets the run that he's looking for as they go down the back chute. He goes into turn 3. He slides in front of Nolan Hodgson, and all of a sudden Eric Papineau, with 20 to go, is exactly where he's wanted to be all night long. 31 to the good since he qualified. Nolan Hodgson, though, ready to get out the hammer and tongs and battle it off once again.
Yeah, Nolan Hodgson continue. Oh, he just got hooked into the wall. Go. The 20th caution flag is currently in the air as we had a big one up front as Hodgson got hooked into the wall. I forget exactly who made the contact with him, but nonetheless, that dark horse has made contact with that outside retaining wall in a big way as we go back to the SRM instant replay, Dave.
Nolan Hodgson was battling it out with Eric Papineau, and all of a sudden DeCiani hooked him and turned him sideways, going, whoa, down the back chute and into 3. Hodgson, it doesn't look like he's got any wheel damage, but he's obviously got positional damage as he drives past the entrance there to pit road. That was the worst place on earth to be, and Eric Papineau going to come down pit road and have himself a quick money stop to grab some fresh tires.
Bold play here by Papineau, the biggest mover of the race. Dave, I did not see that incident coming here, especially as far, deep inside the top 5. As far forward as that incident kicked off. Here we are, a late race money stop. The 12's in as well. You see the 23 also receiving service on his race car. Chris Davis, Beast Mode Performance as well. That's as this cycles back now through, Dave, looking at the amount of cars we have on the lead lap, I'm liking the Papineau strategy here. Sometimes you got to go big, especially with the drive that this man has had over the course of the night tonight. Putting fresh Ford Dr. Feelgoods on it. That could be, one of the keys to victory here tonight. If Papineau can make it happen with those 4 fresh tires. Dyson, though, still going to have, or I should say, carry the torch here with just 16 laps to go as we're under caution here from Richmond.
When we go back green flag racing now, it's going to be Dyson, Long, and Banks your top 3. DeCiani being involved in that, he may get an EOL out of this, of course, per league rules, if he takes the at fault. Now, this late in the race, he may not take the at fault, and they might just have to sort that out in post-race review. I've seen a little bit of both. Eric Papineau in 7th position now. So a minute ago, he was just duking it out with the now wrecked Nolan Hodgson, which for Hodgson, that is just such a disappointing end. Yeah, heartbreak is probably the best way to put it, after he has just fought his way through this race all night and now winds up the last car in the lead lap in 12th position.
World, destroyed in the blink of an eye. Up here in the broadcast booth, you're not supposed to, have unbiased opinion, if you will, but that is just crippling. He fought, like you said, fought his tail off all race long, got himself in position, and then just gets mowed over, late in this race. That's got to just be deflating. But you can't, lose track of what you accomplished tonight here, Nolan. Get it back underneath you, regroup, reset for next week, and go back at it again, and good things will come if you keep fighting and running as well as you have, bud.
What do you mean you're not supposed to be biased up here in the booth? Was that...
I know, right?
I usually am.
You caught my dry joke there.
Well, I'm gonna quick throw this out to the YouTube.com live chat in case you haven't been paying attention. Never mind, Deb Harris just cleared it out for me. If you're interested in who won the real race, Deb Harris has put that in the live chat. Usually I ask only because if I babble it from up here, there's somebody in the race that's listening to us in their background that gets all mad at me. Oh, don't tell me that. Speaking of which, since I want to ruin some things, Chris Claude, since we've talked about him a couple of times tonight, where is he? Chris?
He's in 9.
Chris, of course, is a diehard Atlanta Braves fan, and you couldn't sweep us this time around, sir. But thanks for ruining my opening day weekend by letting the Phillies go to 1-2 on the season. Just saying, maybe I should ruin your evening and tell you who won today's race while I'm at it. I'm still mad. How do you start your season 1-2 like that? I mean, goodness gracious. So thanks to Chris Claude and his fandom of the Atlanta Braves for ruining my weekend. As the green flag flies, we are 12 laps to go now at the line. Andrew Dyson with the good jump over Matt Long and Dylan Banks. I want to start to see some of these drivers who came down pit road make a little bit of distance up here as they all came down on 383, 385 for
There
Chris
he is.
Davis. We're going to start to see this parade move through the standings. Let's follow Tanner Marty as he is, wow. Tanner
Big time moves.
And Eric Papineau. Now Papineau on the high side with fresh tires.
Uh-oh.
And here they go.
Did he save it?
I think they
he
saved
it.
Smoke, but no fire. As we take a look back at Eric Papineau trying to battle it out with Tanner Marty, I'm afraid he may be running out of time to play around as Andrew Dyson with a 21.60 even just laid down the fastest lap of this race.
Yeah, Dyson has lit the afterburner in the 40, and he is supersonic right now as Papineau, who came down pit road, relinquished that third place position for 4 fresh tires, as there was a big slide out of the 88, stay under green. Papineau has not gained any ground yet, I don't think, as he's still currently in that 7th place position. The next car for position, that's going to be Marty in the 29, just in front of him.
Traffic on race radio starting to pick up as Eric Papineau works his way back up to Tanner Marty. Andrew Dyson leads this race. Matt DiCianni trailing Matt Long by 0.2 of a second and now less, as everything is starting to heat up at this point in the race. Nolan Hodgson, as far back as he is just looking on from beyond as Kavaja Holt just slung himself past the 74 of Chris Davis. All of a sudden, half of timing and scoring is going red as these drivers are starting to turn up the heat.
Yeah, as the drivers turn up the heat, the technology is breaking down. As I'm trying to hang on here as well, Dave, but the 74, he has other plans. Davis, of course, in a hot seat right now with that 09 of Cook, who had an ugly stretch just a few laps ago when he was almost wrecked twice. So we now shift coverage back to the focus of Papineau, still in that 6th place position. So it looks like he's been able to get around the 29 of Marty. Let's see if his position updates here at the line.
He stays in 6th. Paul Hill is going to be timed in 5th position right now as we get deeper in here. I mean, look, we're basically at dusk. This isn't even twilight anymore. Andrew Dyson and Matt Long, you can throw a blanket over the two of them as long as Matt DiCianni is okay staying in 3rd position right now. That top 3, that's what everything's going to hinge on here with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Dyson continues to lead, is Long okay with 2nd, but he's also almost a half a second back, and then you have another 0.2 back to the 14 of DiCianni, who is the faster car of the 3 right now, but he does not have enough time as there is only 3 laps remaining as DiCianni comes off of turn 2, fires down the backstretch once again. He is going to maintain just over a half a second on the 97 along.
The story that we're missing as the popsicle sticks go in the air is Sean Rogers getting what looks to be a lap down. So that's going to affect his point standings for sure. We'll have to take a look at that next week as they haul it out of turn 2 and down the backstretch. Andrew Dyson controlling this field tonight. He has done it from start to finish, battling his way through here. As they come to the line, the popsicle sticks go down, the white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers.
One more time around here in Richmond for the 40 of Andrew Dyson, who has been absolutely electric here in prime time tonight. That 40 machine has been bad fast when he's needed it into the 3 and 4s complex for the final time tonight. As he comes off a 4, he's been slicing Dyson. Andrew takes it to the point and claims the victory here in Richmond with a statement win. Matt Long almost performs the comeback. He comes up just a little bit short in the 97 in 2nd. Matt DiCianni rounds out your top 3. Banks resides in 4th. 5th belongs to Hill. Papineau, Marty, Witt, Claude, and Holt is the top 10, Dave. What a drive for Dyson.
Andrew Dyson pulling out all the stops as he gobbled his way up here to the lead. And, I mean, he really sucked through things like a Dyson vacuum. He's going to wind up getting a big boost in points as he was back here in 48th position a week ago. He comes in tonight, notches that win. Unfortunately, Sean Rogers is going to wind up losing at least one position, I'm sure, as he was just 6 points to the good. As I pull that up, there it is. 6 points to the good over DeCiani, who finishes in third. So that's going to affect some things, and Sean Rogers extends that winless streak here in the 2024 season, as he was our points leader coming into tonight. But the story is all about Andrew Dyson, who comes across the start-finish line. We're going to get a moment to speak with him here in just a second. Going to get DeCiani moved on down to the waiting room. We'll get all these guys dragged together. Now we just have to get Dyson. 2 out of these 3 drivers came from the Dirty South Racing stable. Here's Andrew Dyson. Hey, Andrew, it's Dave and Matt up in the broadcast booth. You got us.
Hey, guys. How you going? I got you.
Listen, man, here you go ahead. You get 2 out of 3 drivers from Dirty South. Congratulations on the win. I mean, how does this feel to come in here tonight and just dominate at Richmond?
Yeah, man, I think dominate might be a bit of a stretch. I'll take it, man. It's a good little win, but race of attrition. I think at the end there, right place, right time. Made some straight calls that sort of gave me a bit of track position, and that's got us up there. Same for Matt as well. He had a bit of damage, but he toughed it out, and we got up there. So, yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you wound up, and in fact, I'm going to steal something later. Tune in next week, of course, to hear my theft. But, you, sir, managed to crawl up from 9th position. You come home with the win. What does that mean, especially when you came into the night 48th in points?
Geez, it's good just to get a win, man. I mean, I'm not here for championship stuff. I can't make a lot of the races. I can make a few of them, so that's not sort of what's really on my mind. I just want to come out and have some good races. And if I can get towards the front, then definitely I'll try and give it a good shake. But as far as just this individual race goes, and the other races that I can do for the year, definitely just going to go out here and try and do the best I can.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the win. Of course, you're on the other side of the international date line, so it's Monday there, if I understand correctly, or it's close to Monday there. But listen, congratulations on the win. Who do you need to tip your helmet to for this tonight?
Oh, man, I'll just say big thanks to all the guys at SNN for putting the whole league together, particularly Chris. He puts a lot of work in, gets a lot of flack during the race tonight too, a little bit, jokingly, of course. But there's a bit going on, so he takes care of it all. Great job there, and thanks to everyone who comes out for a race. And thanks to you guys for putting together this pretty awesome broadcast. We really appreciate it. And all the Dirty South boys, get around them.
Dave, that is trophy hunting at its finest right there.
I will say I do have to agree with you, sir, as we want to thank Andrew for making us a part of his evening. Of course, that's our race winner. Next up here on the podium in second position is Mr. Matt Long in the 97. Hey, Matt, it's Matt up in the broadcast booth.
Hey, guys, how y'all doing?
You tell me, my man. How you feeling after that run?
Man, 1-2 Dirty South Racing. We'll take it. Yeah, I just went into this with the mindset of keep the car in one piece for the end. I figured there'd be some carnage, and that's what we did. I just didn't want to get caught up into too much, and just rolled around, and I was hoping for a top 5, and we got second. So would have loved to gotten up there and battled Dyson, my teammate, for the win there, but we picked up some damage under caution. I think my other teammate, Neil, had an issue with the screen and checked up the whole top lane, and we all got some damage up there. But, I'm happy with second. We'll take that.
Well, first of all, the ATL native, it's always hot. It's prime time on Stacy Strong. Matt, this is becoming almost a common occurrence here up in the broadcast booth. You got to be vibing high off of that alone. You mentioned the damage on your car. I thought that happened on pit road, but it actually happened under caution on the racetrack.
Yeah, it was maybe 80, 100 to go or so. Neil had a monitor issue and kind of checked up, and I think a few of us, I know Derek and Ethan, they got some damage from it too. And but I was a little bit worried after it. It was like over a minute of damage, and but she was driving pretty good still, so we'll take it. We're all right.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of got pinned behind the 8 ball there when that happened. Lost a ton of track position. You were a strong force earlier on in the race, and just kind of ran out of time there. In my opinion, perhaps at the end. Last question I have for you, and I'll turn it over to you. Talk to me about tire wear tonight. It seems like it was non-existent. How were some of you guys able to go north of 120 laps on a set of Goodyear Eagles?
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was a lot more tire wear. I think I was talking about this at Coda. Yeah, I think it's partly the tire, but it's partly racing at night and the cold temperatures. You know, it would wear maybe a half second, a little bit more, and then just kind of plateau right there. So, you know, you think of Richmond, you think of 2-second fall off, and
right.
You know, managing the right rear quite a bit. But no, that wasn't tonight for sure.
Gotcha. So it wasn't you guys just saving at new levels. It was just the tire refused to give up.
No, yeah, I was trying to save my right front a little bit early in the run, and it definitely paid off, especially on a couple of those long runs we had. We didn't have many, but other than just a little bit saving, it didn't make a big difference. We didn't run too far off pace.
Great intel and breakdown there from the driver of the 97. That is Matt Long. And before we cut you loose, bud, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank my teammates, Dyson, Pearson, and Bobby Anderson. Man, we have a blast racing these races. They're awesome guys. Thanks to you guys for putting on the show, and Chris and the team for putting on the league. Appreciate y'all.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Long, once again, puts and reminds everyone in the series that he is here, and he is here to compete. Tonight in Richmond, comes home with a second-place finish. Dave Regal, back to you.
Thank you for that, Matt. As always, Matt. And Matt, again, Matt DiCiani this time. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Hey, man, listen, a great run tonight for Chicago as you come home third on the podium. It's been a long night here at Richmond. What are you thinking as the checkered flag flies and you finally get to cool down that number 14 Chevrolet?
Yeah, I mean, can't really complain with a third. I mean, we got a lot of stage points, the stage wins. I mean, all in all, a good day. Yeah, congrats to Andrew and Matt. I mean, I felt like it was kind of a tire lottery there at that last stage, and it's like once you get track position, if you guys are even remotely close on speed, it's so hard to pass those guys. So they did a good job with the strategy, and yeah, congrats to them.
Yeah, I mean, tires played such a major factor, in the latter part of this race. But, that first stage, a lot of you guys seem to be able to drag those tires further and further down the racetrack. What was the tire saving strategy tonight, and where did you have to run to keep those tires cool?
It kind of depended with the rubber laying down, and when it was daylight, it was more just so wrapped the bottom. Then when the track temp came down, it was kind of open up entry a little bit to not have a ton of wheel into it to start saving those tires, keep the rears underneath you. But yeah, I mean, it kind of just moved around a little bit, and track temp kind of played a role in that.
Well, man, listen, a hard-fought battle for you here on the third step on the podium. Of course, things are going to start to change as we go through the season. I mean, we go from, of course, the short track here, and next week we're going to be shifting gears completely once again as we go out to Martinsville. We go even shorter to the paperclip. What are you thinking about besides hot dogs and grandfather clocks?
Just survive. Honestly, it's Martinsville on the service is not a great racetrack. It's unfortunate because it's a fantastic track and it gets really fun if you can get green runs, but it's pretty chaotic. So I guess the goal number one next week is just survive and see where I end up there in stage 3 and see if we got to shut out the win.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish tonight. Before we cut you loose, though, who do you need to thank and shout out for this run?
Yeah, thanks to you guys up in the booth for calling the race, Chris for putting on the league, and shout out to Team Competi's Sim Performance.
All right, my friend. Well, Matt, Mr. Metler, that is. Geez, cats. It's too much for two Matts in the top 3, plus you here in the broadcast booth, but another one in the books here in the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. Our takeaways tonight are extensive.
Certainly. I mean, I don't know where to start. Probably the most shocking, and that was the tires that did not give up, did not quit, whatever, however that played out and that storyline unfolded. I still cannot believe that we had drivers at one point in time north of 130 laps on those tires out there making laps. Hard to get my head around. And then you talk about, drivers like Andrew Dyson, Matt Long. They're on the same team, and yet they come into a series that's highly competitive, if not the most competitive series that I'm a part of from a broadcast role, and they continue to come in here and put themselves in position to win or be inside the top three. And once again, they do it again here tonight. And then the other side of this was the caution flags. I did not anticipate, north of 20 cautions, from especially this crowd, but that is the catalyst, the wild card. That is Richmond, Dave.
Yes, sir. And before we get out of here, one final look at our final results. Just 12 cars finished on the lead lap tonight. Andrew Dyson brings home the checkered flag. He's followed on the podium by Matt Long and Matt DiCiani. Dylan Banks and Paul Hill make up your top five, while Eric Papineau finishes in sixth. Tanner Marty and Michael Witt finish seventh and eighth, with Chris Claude and Kavaja Holt rounding out your top 10. Nolan Hodgson finishes in 11th, while Chris Davis brings home 12th place honors. P13 goes to Sean Rogers, while 14th goes home with Timothy Cook. Chad Sander finishes in 15th, Keith Long in 16th. Bobby Anderson, Alexander Gangler, Ron Fitting, and Seba Cornez round out the top 20, Matt.
Thank you for changing the graphics there. Seba Cornez rounds out the top 20. 21st belongs to Tyler Section. Kyle Kelly comes in that 22nd place position. The 11 of Ethan Eckert, who was strong early, comes home 23rd. 24th belongs to the 76 of Derek Heitman. Neil Person, an off night for him, rounds out the top 25. Brandy Belk, Brian Tarnowski, Steve Herring, Richard Pruitt, and Ken Ron round out your top 30. 31st belongs to Alex Princeton. Jeff Carson, who took a car to the face earlier. This one comes home 32nd. 33rd, John Wilco, Dalton Mobley, Ryan Samuelson, Patrick Gitter, Caden Norfree, and Dakota Knoll round out the 38 drivers that took the green flag here tonight.
Yeah, it has been a long night here in Virginia, and I'll tell you what, I couldn't imagine spending it any other way. As, of course, all of these drivers made it worthwhile to watch from start to finish all night long here on this 1 mile racetrack. So for myself, Dave Regal, and Matt Metler, we're finally going to take a breather and call it a night here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank you for making us a part of your evening, as we have been one of the most watched races of our season so far, with 356 of you tuning in tonight. So we want to thank you for all of that love and support. We know that number will go up higher tomorrow. And we really appreciate that here on SRM. So once again, thank you for tuning in and being a part of all of this that we do here on SRM. And tomorrow and every day, as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.